Hey guys, Darth Glork here, back with part 7 of our Everlasting Summer playthrough. Shout out to the voice crack, I am 12 years old. Anyway, so we're back with Everlasting Summer. And last time we did, was it Alyssa? We did the Pickup Guru, which is Alyssa's Good Ending. And admittedly, I didn't like it as much as Slavia. Slavia in general I like more, is maybe part of the reason. But because Alyssa is afraid of her own feelings and Semyon is is indecisive and kind of mean to a fault. So because of it, their relationship is a lot of dancing around lots of issues that just is better to just get out in the open. Whereas Slavia is of course much more decisive, and I feel like she's a little more mature, and so she's easier to get Semyon to do the right thing sooner. And so it's a lot easier progress, less dancing around the issue. Anyway, so we are back, and today we are focusing on living the dream, which is the Lena Good Ending. So that's the plan. And so there's, this is not our first rodeo, so, let's just hop into it. And, whatever happens, happens, right? So, first choice is going to be day 1, praise the book. So, sure, I'll come with you. Day 1, praise the book. This is not our first rodeo, so we have that going for us. Sure, reply. Keep her going. Ah, yes, so much of the early stuff. Run after him, flee. Don't attempt to take it. Be mature, not like you're 12. Keep her going. Take the keys. Okay, first one we need is praise the book. Boop. Now, we're gonna keep skipping. We're probably gonna skip past this because we've already done this. I'm wondering if a lot of Lena's story is gonna be easier for us because we have done a lot of these decisions already with Lena. So the next one is do not bet with Alyssa, lose the tournament to Lena. Oh, that's cool. So you can skip the whole tournament entirely, basically, and then go to the sports field after that. Okay, so yeah, don't bet with Alyssa. So other than that, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, but yeah, so I think that we have that going for us, and I think that that makes things a lot easier in that regard, because we've already done a lot of things for Lena. So there'll be a lot of things we can just skip out on in general, and I think that that makes things a lot easier for us. So anyway. Okay, go get the cards with Slavia, I guess. Does it make a difference? Alright, do not bet with Alyssa. Okay. Alright, next one is what? Lose the tournament to her, right? Yeah, lose the tournament to Lena, which is skip the tutorial? Don't need it. And then we are, oh, wow, you could choose who to lose against. Oh, you can also choose to win against ones you've previously won against. Oh, so because I've gotten so high up in the tournament, I can choose to lose against any one of the other opponents, which will probably be good for like Olyana's ending when we get hers and stuff. So that'll probably be helpful for that. But anyway, lose against Lena, right? Lose against Lena. Yep, lose against Lena. Again, we've already seen what happens when he loses. Okay, next one is go to the sports field, which I'm assuming must be this, right? Alright, I wanted to get away. How could I ever lose in the first round? There was no excuse for me. The sports ground seemed to be the best place to be alone at the moment. Who would think about playing soccer in the evening? I sat down on a bench near the pitch and started to think about what had happened. Suddenly, from the volleyball field side, I started hearing sounds that seemed to me like sounds of rasping or whistling. Turning, I saw someone desperately swinging his hand. Who was he gesturing to? To my astonishment, it was Lena. She was throwing the shuttlecock up in the air and attempted to strike it with the racket. However, to be really honest, she sucked at badminton. I was just watching for a while, but then decided to go up to her. I actually think we've already seen this. We have already seen this. Right, we had that thing because they go into the forest and she hugs him and stuff. It's great. But again, like I said, we've seen lots of Lena's stuff already. So we already went to the sports field, so this one is sorry, but I promise Lena. Sorry, but I promise Lena. Sorry, but I promise Lena. I was sure that Lena wouldn't mind if I sat next to her. Hold on, wait a second. Sorry, maybe later. Just bailed. I gently loosened my sleeve from her grip and headed to the farthest corner of the canteen. Xenia was shouting something in my direction, but I tried to ignore her. Yeah, he's awfully good at that. Hi, good morning. Having heard the librarian shouting, Lena had been stealing glances at me for a while. Morning. Strangely enough, she didn't blush, but smiled instead. Would you mind if I join you? I'll get my meal and I'll be back in no time. Yeah, sure. Silence. Silence. In a minute, I was already sitting in front of her with a simple set of plates on a tray. Porridge, 2 poached eggs, 4 pieces of wheat bread, good boy, a boiled sausage, a glass of compote. I'm almost positive I'm pronouncing that badly. Made of unknown fruits and berries. Have a nice meal. Thanks. I was trying to eat as neatly as I could, no chomping, smearing the food, or spilling the compote all over myself. It seemed like eating like a human and not like a dog was not that hard at all. As usual, Lena remained silent, which means I should start the conversation. Going to the dance tonight? Probably. She said she was silent for a while. And you? I don't know yet. Though I didn't want to go there at all. I didn't like dance parties since my school days. Why so? What do you mean? My mind was so far away in my school times. Why did you want to go? I didn't say I didn't want to. Okay then. But if you're inviting me, Lena turned red and looked away. I don't really. Sorry, just kidding. I felt confused. I'd better not joke like that. Fine. Lena said indifferently and focused on her food while her face turned even more red. Why am I stuck on this dance if I have nothing else to talk about? But wait, is there actually something? By the way, maybe you know what Xenia wanted to ask me? Huh? I mean, when I came in, she wanted something from me. I don't know. I see. The conversation reached a dead end, so I tried to seem fully focused on my meal. Lena finished her breakfast first. I should go. See you later. See ya. Well done. That was sociable. I was finishing chewing on the sausage, which tasted like a twisted pear cable. I was about to say, after this, I think we've seen that. Okay, sorry, but I promised, Lena. Next one is okay, I'll come. Okay, I'll come. Hi again. Lena emerged from behind the nurse's back. It seems strange that I hadn't noticed her until now. Come here after dinner. I've explained everything to Lena. She'll tell you what to do. Okay, nothing new. Strange, she seemed more spirited during lunch. No way, there are lots of boxes. I saw that. Okay, I'll come. Like I said, we've seen this because we actually are in our blind part. We chose to go with her. So the next one is who cares? Okay, so who cares? All right, keep going. Okay, and then the next one is day 4. I think you look gorgeous in it, so I guess nothing like this matters. I'd rather help Slavia. So let's say if it's anything Slavia related, we would have seen it. So if it's related to Slavia, we can bail and keep going. Again, the only thing that matters next is day 4 because I think you look gorgeous in it. So stay and help her because it doesn't matter. Okay, keep going. Keep her going. Alright, like I said, now this is the Lena ending and stuff, but we've already been here already. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We've already been here. We've already helped her, so we've seen all this. Ogle talked my head off, and I forgot it. Anyway, I had to say something to get away from this awkward topic. What kind of music do you like? Different kinds? I'm not really into it. Then let's imagine that it's playing now. I mean that we hear it playing. How's that? Like it plays in your head. I still remember the melody the pioneers were dancing to. The music and the words were really clear in my memory. I'm not sure I can do it. You can just try. Probably. I got her consent. In Lena's case, even that probably can be considered yes. We silently sorted medical supplies for the rest of the time. Okay, we already saw that. Keep going. All right, so then we have our adorable little dance on the pier, and it's dark and whatnot. Forward. What's funny is it said we didn't ever had the opportunity. Sorry, you'd look gorgeous in it, or because I think you'd look gorgeous in it. Like I don't think we ever saw that opportunity. Maybe it would. Cause I thought it was at the infirmary. Maybe we're not even on the right day. I don't know. I think you'd look gorgeous in it is the next one, so I don't think it matters. I think you'd look gorgeous in it. You know how this works. Forward. Sure, go with me, Q. Again, none of this is mentioned, so... Ah, there we go. I think you'd look gorgeous in it. Okay, sorry, I was really worried I did something wrong. Alright. There we go. Food poisoning will be nice. Don't ask about it, because it's rude. We're not going to give it to her, because we're going to try and stop her now that it makes a difference. We're going to eat the apple, because why not, right? Next one is Go With Lena. Go With Lena is next. Like I said, we've seen so much of the Lena stuff already. We are flying through this story. So obviously this part will be new, because we'll have gone with Lena this time. So tell her you went alone is the next option. Tell her you went alone. I won't have to go there alone, will I? Olga thought for a moment. You may be right. We'll go together tomorrow. For the last few minutes, I'd noticed that Lena had a strange look on her face, as if she wanted to say something but didn't dare to. The pioneers started to disperse as if they had forgotten about Alyssa and the explosion. Even our leaders seemed to calm down and didn't react when the wannabe terrorists left the square, hiding behind Olyana. We should go too. Yeah. Night quickly fell on the camp. There's only a brief moment between the first rays of the setting sun till complete darkness here in the south, or maybe in this world. You don't have enough time to enjoy the variety of the sunset colors. It was too early to go to bed, but the leader confidently walked to her cabin, as if mentally dragging me with her. I'll take a little walk. Okay. She looked at me intently, but didn't find any reason to object, shrugged her shoulders, and kept walking. I went back to the square. I didn't really want to look closely at the trivial damage done to the Genda statue. It was at the exact center of the camp. If you don't know where to go, you should start from there. I sat on the bench and looked to the west. I wondered if the earth here revolves on its axis as it should, or whether there was an actual north or south. It's hard to say. At this time, I didn't have any ideas on how to check the fundamental laws of nature. And why do you care? Hi. Lena appeared next to me as if from nowhere. Hi. Can't sleep? She looked at me in surprise. Well, yeah, I mean, it is early. May I sit? Yeah, of course. Sit down. I moved over a little. Saying a little was, in fact, an understatement. I actually shifted myself to the end of the bench. Thanks. Lena sat and looked at the sky as if she'd forgotten about me. It's sad. What's sad? That shirk disappeared? Yeah, things aren't too good. She was as calm as usual, keeping silent most of the time. She blushed and felt embarrassed only when she had to speak or do something. That same silence, which could be seen as awkward by many people, including myself, was quite natural for her. I could hardly imagine Lena making an effort to carefully choose the right words to start a conversation, or make a good remark, trying not to look stupid, or alternatively, trying not to look as rude as Alyssa. I just wasn't able to compare her to anyone. She was just content with being herself. Does that mean that my attempts to start a conversation with her could be seen as rude? That the expression "become friends" could be interpreted as an intrusion into her private life? But something in this girl attracted me. Maybe it was her mysteriousness, and she certainly wasn't lacking in appearance or feminine charms. I didn't have an answer for that. That's why I still haven't been openly accused of being annoying. I'm sure he'll be found. How can you escape from a submarine? Lena didn't seem to appreciate the joke. This camp must seem like a large submarine to me only. I hope so. Tomorrow Olga will call the police. They'll find him for sure. But what if during the night, her expression grew sad. What if something happens to him? Alone at night in the forest, anything could happen. He must be lonely. No one forced him to go there. What if he just got lost? He shouldn't go walking in the forest alone. Like I said, he's completely heartless. You don't have any pity for him at all. Shirk may be sitting there all alone. Of course I pity him. I felt ashamed. You should. In any case, Lena was right. A person was missing. Anything could happen during the night. We aren't seriously going to go search for him now, are we? She didn't reply, still looking somewhere far away, where the last rays of the sun shined over the tops of the old trees, as if trying to leave a bit of its warmth with the people. Do you really think that roaming around the forest in the dark is a good idea? Probably not. For some reason, I was sure that was exactly what she thought. Recently, I started to seem to be understanding Lena even more, without words, more often. And she seemed to be influencing me psychologically, making me agree with her. Lena's silence was more informative than any chatter or attempts at persuasion. They looked for him during the day already. Everywhere? She stopped watching the sunset and looked at me. I don't know. I think everywhere. What about the old camp? For the first time, her words sounded self-assured and not vague or indifferent. Where is it? I have no idea. Electronic told us. Well, if you trust him. I grinned stupidly, and Lena kept looking at me seriously. Oh, sorry. I will definitely cut out that silence. There was something in my... I just ate breakfast, and there was something in my mouth that was killing me. Sorry. Sure, if it's not too far. I mean, I say I had breakfast. It was like 11 o'clock, but for me, that's morning, okay? Anyway, so you do want to go? Of course I don't. We can, if it's just there and back, quickly. Okay. Lena smiled and gave me a flashlight, which appeared from nowhere. Yeah, that'll be useful. Does that mean she'd prepared beforehand? Obviously, she's not just carrying that around. And nothing was up to me? I mean, you could have decided to go with her or not. It sounded to me like she knew what she was doing. Just because she's not as loud as other people doesn't mean she's any less decisive of what she wants. Yeah, she does have some shy moments, but she's probably not as shy as she appears, bro. Like, a lot of shy people are that way, including me. Just because of, often, in public, I mean. Like, in public, I'm a quiet dude. Like, I would be the most invisible person. You'd never see me. Why? Because I have a very little presence, if that makes any sense. And I'm a very quiet guy when it comes to being in public. And so, you know, I often come across as something different than I seem, and then Lena is the same way. And so she's just because she's quiet in all this group doesn't mean that she's indecisive or stupid. Just saying. Anyway, I sighed as if doomed and headed to the forest with her. What a baby. Alright, we walked slowly. Lena was next to me, near but not too close. It was strange, but it looked like she wasn't afraid of anything. Moreover, she didn't seem to be bothered much about what we were doing, as if we weren't walking in the forest at night, but just watching a movie with other people playing leading roles. Actually, electronics said that the old camp was not too far, and if we walked straight to it, then it should be hard to get lost. After a few minutes, I was completely unsure that we were walking straight, and after a few more, it started to seem that we would be in a miracle for us to even get there. But I didn't want to lose face before Lena, so I tried to walk cheerfully. The forest was full of silent, flickering shadows and gleaming moonbeams. The grass quickly rustled under our feet, and the branches rustled over our heads. Old oaks stood next to young birches. Large mushrooms emerged from under the latter, as if taking off their large hats in salute. On any other day, or rather on any other time of day, it would have looked really beautiful. It may be safe at night too, but nevertheless I shuddered at each gust of wind. Look, Lena pointed forward. I rubbed my eyes and saw a gap between the trees. In a minute, we were in a rather large clearing. In the middle of it stood a building, which looked like a village school or a kindergarten. The paint was falling off the walls. There were several holes in the roof, like the aftermath of a bombing, and the glassless windows looked at us sadly and a little threateningly. It was not a very pleasant sight. I couldn't remember how I had imagined this place a moment ago. It was like all the images that had been erased from my memory, replaced by this depressing graveyard view. Well, it's creepy. Lena was still standing silently, but a natural expression of fright appeared on her face. Do you think he's in there? I have no idea. If I was Shirk, then a haunted house would be the last place I'd hide in. Shall we go? It's a good thing she's brave, because our dude is a sissy. I didn't manage to answer. The moon appeared from behind the clouds and illuminated the clearing with new colors. Actually, in one color, the white of the grave. I could see more clearly the distant trees, the mist shrouding them. It felt like the temperature dropped several degrees, making me shiver. You afraid? Lena asked calmly. Honestly? She smiled almost imperceptibly and took my hand. It would have caused a storm of emotions in any other situation, but at the time, it just felt like basic necessity. We slowly walked to the building. She's like, don't be such a sissy, let's go. We're gonna do the right thing. Lena, like myself, is gonna force this guy to not be such a loser. Walking through the playground, I pushed a merry-go-round, causing it to creak nastily as it made a half turn. Lena shivered and grasped my hand tighter. Sorry, I probably just remembered my childhood. Did you like merry-go-rounds? Yeah, actually I don't know, I don't remember. Probably, all children like them. I didn't like them. Why? I got dizzy when I rode them. Ah, no wonder if you spin too fast. I like swings more. Well, you can get dizzy on a swing as well. But why would you? I don't know. That conversation had distracted me a little, and I stopped worrying myself about everything, about Shirk, about our night trip, about Lena. After all, this world is not so alien. Finally, we reached the doors. The inside of the old camp building reminded me of a kindergarten, the one I attended in my childhood. At first glance, even the room arrangement was the same. Shirk! Shirk! Grave-like silence replied to us. Even the wind outside had calmed down. Looks like no one's here. We should check anyway. Lena's courage still didn't cease to amaze me. Or should I say, her lack of normal self-preservation instincts didn't. I don't know if this behavior is strange for this girl or not. Okay, let's do it. He is such a loser. We thoroughly examined all the rooms of the old camp. I even inspected the attic. There were signs of people had visited this place everywhere. Newspapers, empty bottles, and other garbage, but there was no sign of Shirk. We returned to the hall where we had started our search. What should we do next? I have no idea. Lena sat on the steps and stared at her feet. I think we should go back, I began carefully. It's late and can just the two of us search the entire forest for him? You may be right. She looked sad and her expression let me know that the search was not over yet. Well, I am. I waved my hands in resignation and sat next to her. We should think about the worst outcome. Are you saying no, but are there any wild animals around? I doubt it. Lena calmed down at once. He may be sleeping somewhere. He'll wake up in the morning and return to camp. Yes, of course. I jumped to my feet and started to walk in circles around the hall. I really wanted to leave this place, to get out of the forest, but it was as if Lena's behavior was keeping me here. I wanted to go on trying to persuade her, but then I noticed something on the floor. It was a trapdoor. There were little heaps of garbage and dust around it. It must have been opened recently. Look. Do you think Shirk is in there? Lena squatted and carefully pulled on the hatch's handle. It may not be Shirk, but someone surely used it recently. I had already regretted finding that damn gate to hell. Let's check it out. The trapdoor wasn't very heavy, so you could open it without much effort. I directed the flashlight into it, and I saw a ladder going down a couple of meters. Looks like a cellar. Let's go down. I looked at Lena for a few moments, trying to understand what was on her mind. Did she have a craving for adventure like Liliana? So where is her youthful spirit then? Or maybe she just went a bit nuts. Lena didn't seem like a crazy person. But anyway, who even said she really is a human and you can evaluate her with normal behavioral logic? The thought should have scared me, but somehow I didn't pay it any attention among the millions of other thoughts. I don't know why he's so quick to assume, is she an alien? You'd be like, you're so stupid. You're so stupid. Some of them were more important. For example, what could be down there? Just go down, you stupid coward. I climbed down and looked around. Everything's okay. After I made sure that there was nothing to be afraid of, I called Lena. We stood in the long corridor, which certainly wasn't a cellar. Its architecture more resembled KGB dungeons or a subway maintenance tunnel. I don't know which would be better. There were countless wires along the walls, fastened by metal hooks every half a meter. There were lamps under the ceiling, covered by rusted shades. Crumbled concrete crunched under our feet unpleasantly. Shall we go? Lena without any emotion. Said Lena without any emotion. Where to? There? Well, yeah. What if Shirk is in there? What would he be doing there? In any case, I wasn't really able to refuse her today, so we forgot about our fear and headed into the darkness. Good. Don't be such a coward. Lena walked next to me, holding my hand. The silence of the dungeon was interrupted only by the sound of our steps and the water dripping from the ceiling. Whoop, sorry. Wrong mouse key. We moved forward slowly, maybe too slowly. I suddenly felt an urge of claustrophobia. I gritted my teeth and squeezed the torch, but loosened my grip at once, fearful of breaking our only source of light. Lena kept silent, and her silence seemed louder than any words. I started to fear. Say something. Door. What? There's a door. She pointed forward. That would be funny if that was like the only random word that came to mind. Say something like I don't know. Say something. Sky torch. Like what? You said say something. You didn't say something intelligible or say something specific. Anyway, we came to a massive door with a biohazard sign. Looks like a bomb shelter. Yeah, I'd heard something about it. Why is it here? I have no idea. Maybe because of the Cuban Missile Crisis? Cuban? I estimated the approximate time of constructing the camp. Makes sense. However, building a bomb shelter here was like building an airport at Faggot in Northumberland or Lecoq in Wiltshire in the UK. That just sounds really bad to me. Sorry. That just sounds like I'm swearing. Sorry. Anyway, and then somewhere else and somewhere in the UK. Whatever. Like, why couldn't you have listed cities that are a little less aggressive? It wasn't deep enough or too far from civilization. The door wheel dully creaked. I had to push it with all my strength before it turned a couple of times. I made up my mind and opened the door with difficulty. We entered the room, which seemed to be the main living quarters. There was some beds, cases, some scientific equipment. They had been thoroughly prepared for a nuclear apocalypse. We didn't find any signs of Shirk there, though. Look, Lena was holding a flare gun and smiling. Why would I need it? To fight monsters? There were no monsters here. At least I wanted to believe that. If you say so, I guarantee it. I didn't want to upset her, so I tucked the flare gun into my belt. It might come in handy. We thoroughly searched the room once again. There were two exits. The first was the door we had entered, and the other one was another door exactly the same in the left wall. For a moment, I felt excitement, the urge to reach the end of this labyrinth and to learn what prize awaited me there. However, this surely wasn't a computer game, and there is no option to save. Maybe with this? Lena offered me a rather big crowbar. No, I'll give it a try without it first. However, the door didn't want to budge. It only creaked nastily, and the door wheel didn't turn a millimeter. Okay, give it to me. It was too easy with the crowbar. So obviously that makes sense, considering they had to like break it off because it was so rusted. That makes sense because if you recall when we were here with Alyssa in our last playthrough, we were on the other side of that door, and obviously they couldn't get it open, so they had to go back. So obviously that's how it's different, because they fell in the other side of the door, so they couldn't get back this way. So obviously that explains kind of how that happened this way rather than the other way, so it makes sense. The hinges were rusted completely through. I pointed the flashlight into the passageway. There was a corridor just like the one we had came here, though. Let's go? It was like Lena was constantly driving me on, because she is your conscience. Where are you rushing to? Me? I'm not. She blushed in confusion. Again, what should I make of her? First, she doesn't fear a thing, then she gets me lost after a word. You look like you don't fear anything. I don't know. What should I fear? You'll protect me anyway, she added, barely audibly. So Lena is counting on me, so she believes in me, no matter what. God knows why. It's possible. Stupid, naive, but possible. I knew clearly that I couldn't protect anyone, even myself. Nothing's up to me in this world. Yeah, that's because you choose to believe that. The powers that brought me here could do anything. That didn't exactly mean that inevitable death awaited me in the end of the tunnel. It could be lying in wait anywhere in this camp. Let's go. I tried to walk faster, but Lena seemed to not be bothered by that, and she easily kept pace with me. This corridor was exactly the same as the previous one, in every last detail. There was nothing shocking about it, but at some point I got the feeling that we were walking in circles. The flashlight in my hand started to tremble visibly. The spot of light jumped all over the walls and the floor, and suddenly it lit up a rather large hole. Or big hole, sorry. The hole wasn't too deep, and down below we could see rails. What's down there? It looks like a mine. Should we have a look? Why not go further along the corridor? Or why not go further along the corridor? I don't know, I think we should go down there. I estimated the height. It would be possible to pull ourselves out. Okay, let's check it out. I jumped down the hole and helped Lena get down. It really was a mine. Oops, sorry once again. I wonder what they could have mined here. What minerals are there in this area? I don't know. Well, yeah, stupid question. It looks like there are none now. We headed into the darkness. It was hard to walk because I couldn't choose where I trod. Wobbly wooden planks or uneven ground. I wasn't able to stick closer to the walls either. The narrowness of the tunnel forced us to stay between the rails, and I didn't want to let go of Lena's hand. Finally, we reached a fork. Just great. Where should we go? Where? I'm not certain that we'll be able to ever get out of here at all, especially if we're gonna play Pac-Man. Play what? Never mind, we'll get lost. Never mind, we'll get lost. What if there's an exit too? There may be one, but what if there isn't? So, should we go back? I bit my lip till I bled and yelled as loud as I could. Shurik! The loud echo rebounded from every direction at once. Soil even fell from the ceiling in some places. See? Then I'll go on alone. What? I grinned stupidly. Alone? Where to? We must find Shurik. He may be... Lena blushed at once and stared at the ground. No, that won't do. If we go together. Okay, then let's go. She smiled and took my hand. How did she manage that? But first, we should... I took a sharp stone from the ground and scratched a cross on one of the beams which supported the walls. Now we'll know where we started. Alright, obviously, we've done this before, children. Right. Yes, there's another one. Right. There's always a lag spike after the fork. Left. Right. Oh, dang it. Sorry. Messed that up. I wonder if okay, I accidentally went an extra left, so I wonder if we go maybe right twice and then go one more right. Maybe we'll end up there anyway. Flip. Now, see, now I've killed us. Now I've killed us. I accidentally missed and I clicked on left, and now we're just going to be going right forever. Well, this certainly isn't it. We came to some kind of miner's camp. Picks and helmets everywhere. A rusty wagon stood in the corner. All the items were so old, they dated from the beginning of the 20th century rather than the middle. So this really is a mine, which means I could wander around here for ages without finding a way out. But I sensed that an exit was somewhere nearby, so we went further. Yeah, this was my fault. I accidentally missed and I clicked on the wrong stinking fork, so now we're completely screwed. Alright, hang on. Let me look up a freaking guide here. I know I found, earlier, I know I saw someone showed the mine. There we go. Okay. So, let's see. So, I think that this is... Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I think if they brought us to this fork... Alright. This guy's guide is a little bit weird, so it's kind of hard to tell, but... Alright, so we're gonna try going left. Okay, and then we'll try going left again. Because even if that was this one, that should still bring us to this. I mean, all the lefts in the world. Okay, now somehow we're back at the miners' camp. Okay, so clearly... Okay, so S is your starting point. Okay, that's what I thought. This is the place where the main character finds the abandoned mining tools. Yeah, that's what I thought. E is the place you want to go. No kidding. No stinking kidding. Alrighty then. So I did nothing but lefts. And I did nothing but lefts here, and we ended up back at this, okay? So somehow that means we're making rights, even though we shouldn't be. So somehow... like, this guy's map is ridiculous. What is this right now? See, we're completely screwed now because I accidentally missed and I clicked on the wrong damn direction. So now we're freaking stuck in here. Now we actually are gonna die in this mine. Alright, so this time, let's make a left again. Or no, let's make a right, because if we made left and we just went around the right side of that, well then let's make a right this next time. Okay, so let's go right. Okay, so now in theory, we should be at CR8 somehow. So if you make, I mean, that looks like a straight to me. Place we had begun, we took a wrong turn somewhere. Oh, okay, so it says place we had begun, so maybe now, maybe we're back at the beginning? Maybe it just resets you because it feels bad for you? So we'll just try our whole right, left, right thing again. Oh, we did it! How nice of the game to reset you because they felt bad for your stupid face. Alright, well, we got past it. That was retarded. Anyway, we found a wooden door. You know how this goes. At least it's something. What? At least it's not another fork. What's in there? We don't have any choice but to check it out. I strongly pulled the handle and opened the door. There was a room behind it, which might be one of the maintenance rooms for the bomb shelter. Empty bottles and cigarette butts were scattered everywhere. The walls were all covered with scribbles. So that means there is another exit from here. I didn't want to believe that the people who had left all of that had come the same way we did. Sadly, Shurk wasn't here. Oh. I slid down the wall to the floor. We must have been everywhere now. Not everywhere. Lena pointed to a door in the corner. It looks similar to the one leading into the bomb shelter. There probably should be an exit, as you said. Shall we go? Let's rest for a moment. Okay. Lena sat next to me, very close, and took my hand. It's alright. What do you mean? That we haven't found Shurk? We should think about getting out ourselves. Yay for selfishness. We'll get out. Yeah, I probably remember the way. Or at least I thought that I remembered it. I'm not afraid at all. She suddenly said after a short pause, That's good, because I'm with you. Suddenly there came a noise from behind the door to the mine. I jumped up at once and started looking for something I could use as a weapon. The noise of heavy footsteps was getting closer. Finally, the door opened and Shurk appeared from behind it. In the silence, I froze, staring at him. There you are. Did you think you could hide from me? What? Do you think I wouldn't found you? But I did. He wasn't sane, that was for sure. His face was distorted by a scary grimace. His eyes gleamed behind his glasses. The missing pioneer held a metal rod in his hand. Are you mad? It's us. Yeah, I can see it's you. He took a couple of steps towards us. I instinctively shielded Lena. Do you think you can make a fool of me? Leading me here and there, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, and I followed. Ah, so the outcome is the same, more or less. I mean, it's different. He wasn't in here. We got here first, so obviously things are different. He raised the metal rod. Everything after that was like it happened in slow motion. Shurk charging at us. Me pushing Lena out of the way. The rod slowly arcing towards my head. My hand with the flashlight going up. Following all of that, complete darkness. Rapid breathing, blood hammering in my temples. Silence. Dreadful, heavy silence merging with the darkness. I moved my hand trying to find the wall when I felt someone's touch. Don't be afraid. I heard a familiar voice near me. Where are you, you damn lunatic? I shouted. He left. Which way did he go? Where to? Lena's voice didn't sound too calm, but certainly it didn't sound like it should in such circumstances. Calm down. She held me tenderly and pressed her body against mine. I tried to gather my senses, to recover my breath, to adapt to the darkness. What should we do next? You have a gun. Well, who do I shoot? It's loaded with a flare. She might be right. I took the gun from my belt, pointed it to the side, and fired. Hey, we can see at least a little bit now. It's all red. Anyway, the room was illuminated by a bright red light. The flare, lying in the corner, looked like a firework or a sparkler. Let's go quickly. It won't burn for too long. Where to? Lena pointed to the second door. It wasn't hard to open it, and we headed into the darkness. The flare burned more dimly with every second. I stumbled with every step, even fell down a couple times, but it didn't slow my pace. If it goes out. Finally, we saw a light in front of us and came to a ladder, leading to a grating in the ceiling. The flare hissed and went out. Thank God. It turned out that we were right under the statue of Genda. The grating was rather sturdy, but we managed to open it after breaking the bolts with a flashlight. You know, the remnants of one. After reaching the surface, I collapsed on the grass, exhausted. That was terrible. Lena sat next to me. Just dreadful. And by that time, I didn't give a damn about this world, the camp, the 410 bus, or my previous life. The strangest and nastiest thing that there was nothing supernatural in these events. Shurk was just crazy, insane. Nothing strange about it. I would have too in his position. Lena patted my head tenderly and smiled. It's all over now. I don't know. There is a crazy pioneer in the woods. You could even say a maniac killer. I think he's gonna be alright. Alright, I'm not sure about that. The most important thing is that we're okay. She still smiled. How can you be so calm? I told you before I have nothing to be afraid of when I'm with you. Indeed, I might have saved Lenna and myself back there, but it was only by chance, nothing more. If Shurk had been swifter, or crazier, thanks for the compliment. You're welcome. Though we still should have stayed here in the first place. You're probably right. She smiled calmly. I got really sleepy. Oh yeah, that was right. Because of stress, of exhaustion, of how late of night it was, we should go to sleep. But I'd have to stand up and walk to the leader's cabin. I wasn't ready for that. My eyes closed just for a moment. Stars looked down at me from the sky. Thousands of them, even millions. Now their light didn't seem to be so distant and cold. On the contrary, they twinkled at me, as if whispering among themselves, telling merry fairy tales in eager competition. I think that all the time when I see the stars. It's like they're telling a story. Like who is this guy? Freaking Shakespeare? Anyway, sorry. It always just kind of bugs me. This ridiculous. See what I mean? Like just glancing at this whatever sentence paragraph right now. Just glancing at it, like it's already like just eye roller. Sorry. About a galaxy far, far away and violet, fluffy piglets, naturally. About mysterious asteroid belts where ships have discovered. About a fearless starship captain and his brave crew. About exceptional treasures and unreachable peaks of a planet on the edge of the universe. I wonder, is that a dream? It's certainly something. I lifted myself a little and realized that my head was on Lena's lap. Did I sleep long? I asked in confusion, but didn't rush to get up. I don't know. I don't have a watch. She laughed. Approximately? Well, maybe 20 minutes. Oh, that's okay then. I laid down again, feeling nice and calm like never before. Yeah, on her lap, I'd feel pretty calm too. The events of the night were becoming distant, as if I was starting to forget them, like the story the stars were telling me. Shurk has come back. What? I jumped to my feet instantly. There he is, sleeping on the bench. Lena pointed to the benches in surprise. And what are you... You were sleeping so peacefully that I didn't want to wake you up. I felt a shiver of fear, because such behavior was not just strange, it was not just inappropriate. It scared me more that Shurk's insanity in the dungeon. A lunatic who half an hour ago tried to kill us, arrives and lies on a bench and falls asleep, and she just sits here? Nothing to worry about, he just seems to be a little off. Lena got confused and blushed. He walked unsteadily and didn't look towards us, and if I'd made a noise, she was about to cry. Okay, don't worry. There was some logic to her words. She probably did the right thing. In any case, we had to interrogate Shurk thoroughly. I jumped up, walked quickly to the bench he was sleeping on, and slapped him. Ow! He woke up at once. What the hell? What are you doing, you bastard? What? Shurk stared at me with a scared and, moreover, sane look. What was all that about down there? What? Where? In the dungeon, in the mine, in the bomb shelter? Did you go completely nuts? I don't understand you. He looked around. Why am I here? And where should you be in your opinion? Oh, wait, I know. You should be in an asylum. I went to the old camp in the morning for spare parts, and then... Don't you remember anything after that? Lena asked after walking up to us. Yeah, and I... Don't pretend, I said calmly and sat next to him. It really looked like he wasn't lying, though. I don't understand anything. It's unscientific. Who cares? Don't think that I trust you. Memory loss can't just occur, Shurk talked to himself, mumbling something, not paying us any attention. Let's go, Lena said quietly. Shall we just leave him here? He's not in his right mind. He has to sleep. It's dangerous to leave this psycho alone. He may strangle an electronic with an induction coil in the night. It's gonna be alright, trust me. I had no reason not to trust her. However, I didn't have any reason to trust her either. Oh, shut up. Just trust her. On the other hand, who cares now? I want her to fall asleep as quickly as possible. Okay. We left Shurk, who was still mumbling something to himself. Well, it's better than Alyssa when he walked up and punched the dude. I mean, to be fair, he does deserve it, but whatever. We're here. What? Where? I have to go further on. Lena smiled. I hadn't thought about anything all the way here, just followed her, and hadn't noticed that we'd come to Olga's cabin. Yeah. Thank you for today. There's nothing to thank me for. It's just good that we came back alive. We'll see what Shurk has to say tomorrow. Thanks anyway, she said mysteriously and averted her eyes. You're welcome. Well, it's time for me to go. Lena quickly turned around and walked quickly in the direction of her cabin. I suddenly had a thought that something about that was a bit off, not quite right. After all that had happened, well, it's time for me to go? It usually goes differently in such situations, doesn't it? I have no idea what I expected, though. Exhaustion hit me again. Walking with difficulty, I entered the cabin. The leader was sitting on my bed. Semyon, she started to talk sadly. Where have you been? Well, I prepared for a scolding. I didn't expect that reaction. I went to look for Shurk. Alone? Pause. I think I'm supposed to tell him I went alone. Pause. Let's see. Day 4, go with Lena. Yes, tell her you went alone. That's what we need. Tell her you went alone. Yeah, alone. So, what about Shurik? Looks like Olga was really worried about the fate of the Lost Pioneer. What's so strange about that? What's so strange about that? A guy goes missing. Who cares? It's so stupid. The leader can treat her work lightly, but it doesn't mean that she's a heartless person. He's okay as you could be in such a situation. That's good. Go to sleep now. Well, or wait, but she turned the light out quickly, showing that the conversation is over, and I couldn't ask anything. Though, should I? Ask why she didn't scold me? Oh, just go to sleep, you big baby. Still, Lena, what happened today? My thoughts slowed their pace before stopping completely. Alright, so the next thing we are on is on day 5, we're supposed to go with Lena. Alright, charge! I like that buzz, it's great. I don't think it matters. Keep her going. Obviously. Let me go with you. Now, obviously, in Alyssa, I think it was Alyssa's, I accidentally clicked on Lena and not Slavia for this, so I skipped through it. So this time we're going to make sure to read it, so that way, because technically it's new, technically we didn't read it the other time. So technically we are going to read this part. Let me go with you. Let's go. Okay, that's fine. Slavia grabbed the second basket and ventured to the opposite side of the island. Well, let's go. Yeah. Lena smiled. Just pay attention. Don't leave a single berry behind. You too. So, it was harvest time. Indeed, the strawberries here were delicious. I could probably eat them all if I didn't stop myself in time. Despite being wild grown, the berries were close to garden ones in size and had a rich red color, so it was clear that our visit here wasn't in vain. Lena followed me closely as we only had one basket for the both of us. I felt like a real mushroom picker, examining each shrub and carefully pawing the grass. Well, you're much better than me, am I? Frankly, I'm not even counting them. Yeah, right you are. The basket was already half full. You must enjoy nature, right? I do. The bright sun rays pierced the treetops and blinded me for a second. I sat down on the ground and leaned against a tree. Still, it's so beautiful here. Lena sat down next to me, so close that our elbows touched. Yeah, we just sat and enjoyed the moment. It seemed like time stood still. The wind gently shook the tree leaves. Some bugs lazily hopped around the grass, and splashes of sunlight played on the faraway water surface. Hey, we're having our moment, which doesn't count because I skipped through last time. Lena put her head on my shoulder. I was surprised at first, but then I heard her regular breathing and thought that it was just a matter of course. Probably she felt drowsy and wanted to take a quick nap. I just stood there and didn't think of anything for a few minutes, but then words started crossing my mind with ultrasonic speed. Lena, so close, sleeping, so warm, so gentle, feelings. I gazed at her. She had such a serene, such a tranquil look on her face that it seemed that right now she's not here, but in some kind of a better world. I didn't know what would have happened the next moment if I didn't hear the voice of Slavia. Semyon, Lena! I shook my head from side to side a few times to come to my senses. Lena started to wake up. She opened her eyes and gave me an empty look. Have a nice dream? Huh? Suddenly realizing that she had dozed off leaning on my shoulder, Lena blushed. Oh, I'm sorry. It's fine. Slavia came over to us, so Lena rushed to get up. So, how much have you got? I sighed. That's not a lot. Her basket was filled with strawberries to the brim. Well, it's enough anyway. It's time to get back. I grabbed the basket and we headed back to the boat. The way back took less time as I tried to concentrate on rowing and ignoring everything else. Okay, after that, I think we're good. So next one is try to find out what Alyssa and Lena are arguing about. Forward! We'll say thanks to the girls' help, because sharing credit for the win. Keep her going. Just stay on guard. She can have it. Infirmary next. Fly on through. Clubhouse. Keep going. Full speed. Charge. Hightail it. Let's go, fam. This whole one is so much faster than it was for anyone else so far. It's because we've already done a lot of Lena's route, and at least Lena's routes are usually shared with other people, like Lena and Alyssa, and and it was Lena and Slavia, and so she's shared with a lot of other people. So by default, we end up seeing a lot. Anyway, so obviously we've done this part before, but obviously we'll be favoring Lena this time, so it'll be different. Only Lena and Alyssa stood out in all this splendor. Well, of course, it was quite natural for Alyssa to be arguing with someone like that, but hearing Lena talk in a raised voice, I came closer silently, trying to find out what was going on. No, you listen to me. I'm not going to listen to anything. Really? Great then. Alyssa turned away and her eyes met mine. At first, she obviously was confused about what was going on, but then... So you're eavesdropping. What? Me? No. She began slowly advancing on me, and I took a few steps back. Lena, however, remained standing where she was. The reason I'm reading this time, rather than skipping it, I'm wondering what's going to be different, because obviously we've only ever favored her this time, so... Anyway. Well, okay then, listen. Alyssa stopped halfway and turned back to Lena. By the way, did you know he was peeping on me today? What? Peeping, and he saw everything. Is that true? Lena wrung her hands distressfully and gave me a quick glance and started staring at the ground as if she was cut off from the world. No, nothing like that happened. Having thrown an angry glance at Alyssa, I came up to Lena. Why are you denying it? I even have a witness. Your witness is even worse than you. So you'll stick to your claim that it didn't happen? I took a second to think. But really, why do I have such a pathological desire to exonerate myself before Lena? As though I vitally need it, basically, more or less. Need her opinion of me to remain unchanged. Though who would know, how would I know what she's thinking? It didn't happen. Lena threw a baleful look at Alyssa and raised her eyes to me right after that, eyes full of discomfort and hope. It suddenly became unbearable to stare into those eyes. It didn't happen, I repeated less confidently. Well, whatever. Alyssa sneered from behind me. It's up to you to decide who to trust. She said to Lena offhandedly, then turned away and headed to the bonfire. Is that true? I felt uncomfortable, like a fish out of water, feeling the urge to end this as fast as possible. The best route is to tell the truth. Explain to her what happened. If she really cares, then she'll understand, and that's the best you can hope for, because lying is going to make it seem make you going to seem so much more guilty. Now that Alyssa is gone, now's the time to just actually tell her, like, okay, it did happen, but it was a complete accident, like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to say it in front of Alyssa because she's trying to make it look bad or whatever. Anyway, I felt uncomfortable. Okay, I already got that. And why should I have to excuse myself to her? Well, so what if it did happen? Well, really? Really? That's not the way you're supposed to say that, you stupid idiot. I looked at Lena boldly, because I'm dumb, but noticed only a bright sunlight gleaming reflected a tear. Yeah, he's an idiot. Or no, I meant, you don't need to lie. She wiped off her tears and tried to smile. After all, it's none of my business. No, why isn't it? But why is it? It's just that it was an accident, get it? An accident that was caused by Ilyana, nothing more. Yeah, sure. It's true. I believe you. Lena was saying everything with absolutely no emotion, like she didn't care at all about what was going on. Yeah, because you said it like, say something. Stupid idiot. He's so retarded. I was almost able to bear it, but her tears a few seconds ago. It seems to me that you don't. What is this, some kind of a game? Lena said quietly, but there was a hint of anger in her tone. You really need to convince me of that? And even if I believed you, what then? Would it all become true? I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I just want you to understand that I'm not guilty and didn't want to. Why should I care at all? Lena shouted. I was standing with my back to the bonfire, but I was sure that all the pioneers had turned in our direction. If you want to peep at someone, do it. Do whatever you want. But why do you bother me? I'm not. But really, from any point of view, it looks that way. I'm trying to excuse myself to Lena with no success. Like a guilty child, or maybe even like a husband who'd slipped up. Just so you know, I don't care. Lena turned away and headed back to the camp at a fast walk. I didn't try to stop her. It certainly wasn't the best solution. She's on the edge. No attempts to convince her or appeal to reason would help. Since when is she like that? Screaming that way, getting mad. It was because she actually cared, and you are completely retarded. So, you can understand. With these thoughts in mind, I returned to the bonfire and sat down on a wooden log. Well, there you go. That was interesting. So, Alyssa asked after seating herself nearby. What? Not a great success, huh? As you see, I growled out while picking the coals with the stick. It grew completely dark, and the glade was plunged in darkness. The surrounding landscape was reminiscent of a picture from a child's book about a wood monster. An unknown forest creature is just about to spring out from behind a tree. Predatory owls hoot menacingly in tree branches. Yeah, we get it. It's kind of scarier-ish. For the love of God, I'm getting so sick of his complex analogies. I was not afraid at that moment. Everything was different from the previous day when I was in the dungeon at the old camp. The moon was shining brightly, paying close attention to our brave troop. The world was sleeping, waiting for the morning, bathing in the moonlight. As I thought, though it was expected, But why? I finally managed to pick up the largest burning log, throw it into the center of the fire, causing the flames to rise about a meter high and a vortex of sparks to spread out in all directions. Does Lena often behave like that? How? Screaming at others? I couldn't believe she would act in such a way. She is human, like anyone else, Alyssa giggled, as if you hadn't noticed this before. What hadn't I noticed? Her. What do you mean? I meant this is her true face. What do you mean her true face? Oh, you're so stupid. Finish what you started. She's not what she seems like, not like how you thought of her before. So how is she? Okay, I'm sick of this. Alyssa stood up intending to leave. I didn't say anything, just sat and listened to the silence of the forest. By the way, if you want to follow her, I think she's on the island. On what island? The one where you were gathering strawberries today. And what is she doing there? Ah, you really are an idiot. Alyssa stomped the ground, circled the campfire, and sat opposite. I'm actually on Alyssa's side this time. He is an idiot. I must have really lost track of things. My head was absolutely blank. To be precise, it was so heavy and full that not even a single idea would have a chance to dwell there. We get it, you're not thinking. If I would compare my brain, we get it, he's not thinking. I tried to think over what had happened, analyze it somehow, but it seemed like I was bashing against an invisible wall. Moreover, it was impossible for me to find a single emotion in my soul, any response, as if it had all happened to someone else. I failed to convince Lena that I'm not guilty. Should I care? Lena cried, screamed, and then left, because he's an idiot. So what? I didn't feel anything about it. Sure you didn't. Should I? I bit my lip until it bled and stood up. He does that a lot, apparently. I couldn't bear to stay here among these laughing pioneers. I should run away. It doesn't matter where to. To the forest, to the mine, even to space. I don't care. Just so long as I get far away from here. I seized the moment when the camp leader was looking in the other direction and vanished into the forest shadows. There'd been no rain for a long time. However, I'm not sure whether it rains here at all. What a stupid idea. Of course it does. The plants need some moisture. The night was fresher than the afternoon, but the air still hadn't had enough time to cool. I felt a little dizzy from the evening stuffiness. Suddenly, I realized that I really wanted to swim. How convenient. It's quite a normal desire because the days are hot and you constantly feel soaked with sweat during the daytime. It had nothing to do with Lena, of course. I didn't even notice that I'd been approaching the pier. Why not the beach? Thoughts of Lena came over me again. Everything came over me again. Everything that I tried to ignore came out and brought lots of inconvenient questions, inappropriate answers, and vague desires. It was obvious that I had been led to the pier by my subconscious. But what do I really want? To apologize to her for something? To convince her of something? No, unlikely. I just wanted to get some sort of reaction from her. Wanted her to say, yes, I understand everything, and just smile. Well, to be fair, you brought that on yourself. I mean, in more ways than one. First of all, for like, here, I'll just, get naked in the middle of, public, and I'll just dive into the bushes. And so, you're guilty for that because you're, again, stupid. And then the second stupid decision was being like, I don't have to prove anything to you. Obviously, when the girl likes you. So, stupid for that too. So, you deserve everything that happens to you. And then I could stop myself, from feeling like that. It was unnecessary for me to be understood by someone, even in this world. I untied a boat, pushed it into the water, got in, and took up the paddles. It was easier to row this time. My hands were still hurting, but I managed to develop some sort of technique that allowed me to travel quite directly. The river seemed frozen, spreading under the boat like a translucent veil. The moonlight was piercing deep into the water, so it was almost possible to see the bottom. I started rowing. Surprisingly, the island now seemed the same as it did in the daytime. Here, usually everything is different. After dusk, it felt like another world, a mystery world, scary at times, but beautiful in its own way. A world of shadows and whispers, a nocturnal world. Everything is nocturnal when the sun sets, you idiot. Sorry, I can't take it. He's so irritating, and the more I have to endure him to get to the good ending for the girls, the harder it is. Sorry, I should really try to take a chill pill. Anyway, I slowly walked around the island looking for the boat which Lena had took to come here. The grass softly rustled under my feet, the occasional waves peacefully struck the shore and bounced back like flies too tired from beating on the grass. Yeah, of course. The breeze from the water lazily stirred the leaves of the trees out of habit rather than real desire to make the night grove sing. I looked at this wonderful picture with such delight that I didn't even notice something until I stumbled onto it. It was a boat. Well, of course, she wouldn't get here by swimming. I headed towards the center of the island. After 100 meters, I heard a rustling from behind a tree. Don't come any closer, Lena whispered. I hesitated. Don't come any closer, she said louder. How do you know it's me? Though she hadn't indicated that she'd known that. All right. I leaned against the tree, trying not to look behind it. Alyssa told me that she would be here. So what? It was difficult for me to know what emotions Lena was experiencing. Her voice was steady enough. Even though I could read irritation and annoyance in it, I couldn't understand whether she was angry or whether it was all the same to her. That came out awkward. I was doing my best to avoid unnecessary apologies and excuses, but couldn't find any other words to use instead. Yeah, I wouldn't want to actually apologize because that'd be awful. Like, you're so stupid. Just suck it up, be a man, and apologize. And explain, like, actually calmly and less, like, defensively. You know, like an idiot. Was that the only reason you came? No. Well, I don't know. You don't know, but you still came? Yeah. You shouldn't have. Why? Of course, if I'm bothering you. Why are you following me? She was right. It certainly looked that way. Moreover, I definitely felt attracted to her. You shouldn't think like this. How should I think? I don't know. I can only draw conclusions based on your behavior. That's true. I really don't know. I guess I'd better go. I was confused, and it was hard just to be near her. Why? Since you came, I seemed to hear a playful tone in her voice. All right. And what? What did Alyssa tell you? Nothing special? I see. Yeah. Well then. Yep. We just stayed silent for a while. Well, this is going somewhere. Since you came, tell me about something. Well, I don't know. For example, about what happened this morning. What about what happened this morning? You know. You yourself didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to, but now I want to. Lena's voice trembled. I couldn't understand what was happening at all anymore. Maybe it's not her behind the tree? Don't look. Okay. But what's wrong? Nothing. Just don't look. All right, as you wish. So, nothing happened? Well, something did, but that was all just a silly accident. Then why are you so worried about what I think about it? I'm not worried. And anyway, you yourself. I said louder, beginning to feel irritated. What about me? Why are you so concerned about the situation? Who said that I'm concerned about the situation? Then what? Nothing. She said in a whisper and fell silent. Such talk would lead us to nowhere. No kidding. Lena won't say anything, and I seem to be too stupid to guess. So true. Or even just to be sure about myself. Sorry, I guess it's all my fault. You just can't understand. Why? What? Why do you keep apologizing for everything? For what you did, for what you were doing, even for what you haven't done yet. But maybe she was right, but I couldn't behave differently. I felt the need to apologize to her, to everyone. So why would you, so they wouldn't think badly of me, wouldn't laugh at me, so I can put away something unsaid and eliminate misunderstandings. Anyway, that's your business. Lena got angry. Apologize, make excuses, why should I care? Okay, well, I'm not guilty. In fact, I don't think I could be blamed for anything. But then what's wrong? What's wrong with you? Why would something be wrong with me? I don't know. I just think so. Oh, you just think so, she laughed. You speak as if you know me. I didn't answer. Please leave, Lena said after a while. I didn't move, just couldn't. Didn't have the strength to. I wanted nothing at that point, didn't want to excuse myself, to apologize, or even want her understanding. I was too tired of everything. Why? Just leave, she whispered. I don't want to. Then I'll leave. Then let's just go together. No. How long are you going to be offended? By what? What's wrong with you? Everyone here behaves normally except you. I didn't care about what my words meant, as if they had been said by someone else and the topic of conversation meant nothing. Yeah, there you go. Offender. That'll help. You really don't understand anything. Alyssa was right. Yeah, she is right. About what? Never mind. Yep, he didn't understand a thing. He is, in fact, stupid. I closed my eyes to think it was over. No, I can't go. I don't understand. I don't know what to think, what to do. And since when did I stop worrying about my situation in this world or how to get back? Since when was the only thing I could think about was Lena, or how others would look at me, or how my actions looked like the other side? It's just stupid, and it's not like me. In fact, it's inappropriate in the situation. In short, I didn't do anything, and I don't intend to justify the things that I didn't do. There was no reply. Hey, do you hear me? Obviously not. I hope she left you. I finally decided to see who was actually hiding behind the tree, but no one was there. So she left. Well, she said she was. I rushed over to her boat, but she was already far away, almost near the pier. Whatever, I shouted and walked along the shore. I got back relatively quickly and without much trouble. However, my hands still ached terribly and my eyes were closing themselves. Probably such a physical and, more importantly, emotional load is too much for one person. I walked slowly toward the camp leader's cabin, staring down at my feet and thinking about nothing. Oh, good lord. I'm so sick of this guy. Someone called to me at the square. Hey. Alyssa ran up to me. You been to the island? Yeah. To tell the truth, I didn't want to talk to her about anything, but I already didn't have the strength to lie to her. And how'd it go? Doesn't matter. I'm very tired. I'm going to sleep. Come on, tell me. Her face had such a nasty grimace that I shuddered with rage. Why should you care? Well, she murmured in dismay. Mind your own business. I snapped and quickened my pace toward the cabin. Alyssa didn't try to stop me. Naturally, he's a nice guy. Annoyingly, Olga hadn't returned yet, and I couldn't find my key. What if I lost it? The only thing I could do was wait. I plopped down on the deck chair and closed my eyes. My heart was heavy and my soul was being torn apart by vague expectations. From time to time, I had a feeling that I was already dead just without realizing it, and I'd been thrown into hell. But really, instead of trying to get out of here, I'm spinning on a diabolic roundabout, and it goes faster and faster. I'm becoming more and more involved in the life of this world, of the camp. As if I had no past life, the real one. As if I was always interested in the opinions of others. Damn it, I never cared about it. Why right here? Why right now? I recalled the face of Lenna in tears. Yeah, probably not the opinions of others, but her opinion was the one I cared about. Yep, it takes an act of God for him to realize anything. I heard far footsteps, and after a while, Olga appeared. She looked at me for a few seconds. Seems like she was about to say something, but then just sighed, opened the door with her key, and went in. I followed her. Shapeless shadows, blurry memories, fragments of feelings and emotions swirled in my head for a long time. For so long that after a while, I couldn't tell where I was or what was happening to me. The only salvation was sleep. Our only salvation from you is sleep. Alright, this last one is help Alyssa. Right? I mean, I am on the right ending, yeah. Okay, this last one for day 6 is help Alyssa. Why? I don't know. I'm not even sure what help Alyssa means specifically, but help Alyssa, supposedly. I woke up because somebody was shaking my shoulders. It was too hard for me to open my eyes, so I just whined pathetically. Get up already, you're gonna miss the lineup. Once I realized that Olga wanted from me what time it was, I rolled over to face the wall. I was so tired that I wanted to choke the camp leader just so she would quit disturbing my recovery from a hellish yesterday. Wow, he is a bad person. Semyon, get up immediately. I mustered up my strength, opened my eyes, and sat up. Olga, I understand, but I had a hard day yesterday. Can I sleep in just at least a day? I started pleading. It's out of the question. Lineup is mandatory for every pioneer, and you're already missed it a few times. My head went completely numb, so I just couldn't find any arguments against it. In a couple of minutes, we were already standing at the square. I dozed off, taking great pains to not fall back asleep on my feet, so I missed everything that Olga announced. The majority of the pioneers seemed to feel the same. Electronic yawned constantly, Alyssa had huge baggy eyes, only Ulyana seemed to be full of health and energy as always. I swept my eyes over the lineup again and couldn't find Lenna. That's odd. Generally, she's a diligent and committed girl. It's unlike her to miss such events. I wonder, that's odd. What could have happened? Like, oh man, let's rock our brains, team, because can anyone piece together what might have happened? So stupid. On the other hand, that was too much for her yesterday. Such stress. She's probably depressed because of you. Although such behavior from her was very surprising. I mean, I suspected that she was not the kind of person she wanted others to see her as, but I never expected such a drastic change. Lenna, amazingly, somehow reminded me of Alyssa, even more harsh and brutal at times. But now I was not sure how to behave around her. I was simply afraid of her. Finally, the lineup was over and the pioneers dragged themselves off to breakfast. Miku caught up with me near the canteen. Semyon, good morning. How'd you sleep? Any dreams? How are you? Ready for breakfast? She, as always, blabbered without a break, adding a cute smile at the same time. I'm okay, I answered lazily. Today is quite gloomy, maybe because of the weather. It's quite dark, it might even rain. So yeah, everyone is sad and gloomy. I thought maybe something happened, but no one told me what. Can you imagine that? Something happened and everyone knows about it apart from me. I was sad about it, but then... don't worry. You won't miss much at the end of the world. I delivered a snarky remark. Huh? It looked like that she was so into her monologue that she had completely oblivious to everything around her. And if you're gonna miss it somehow, I'll make sure to let you know. Nothing, enjoy your meal. I marched to the canteen with a firm step to get my daily portion of fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. To my surprise, the seat in the far corner was free. I sat down and tried really hard to make a face so that everyone would know that there was no need to come anywhere near me unless there was an emergency. I just wanted to sit alone and think. Moreover, keeping my mind off other things was making me less sleepy. Hey, mind if I join you? Did not notice Slavia standing there. Strange. Sure, I answered after hesitating for a second. Bad mood? A bit. Did something happen? Not really. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. There's nothing to tell you about. We kept eating in silence until I asked. Where'd you go last night? Me? Oh, I just wanted to be alone for a while. That's not like you. I felt a bit more lively. Really? Well, maybe. It's also not often that you're seen so gloomy. She might be right. Oh, please, he's always like this. Even in the most unfavorable circumstances, I'm always tried to have a positive outlook on things. I disagree. Not that I was an optimist, I just tried not to feel too down. Keeping my previous life in mind, it's only natural as soon as you let depression get a hold of you, the news will start to look very appealing. I mean, I guess that's true. That's fair. Perhaps. When Slavia was done with her meal, I was still poking the porridge with my spoon. I'll be going. By the way, have you seen Lenna? Nope. Why do you ask? I didn't see her at the morning lineup. That's odd. That's not like her. Maybe you're right. I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest. Yeah, of course. I was just wondering. I sat for a few more minutes in place and then headed outside without finishing my breakfast. Today was quite gloomy. The first gloomy day during my time here. I'd kind of gotten used to the bright and burning sun. The heat would only subside by the evening seemed to be an irreplaceable component of this place. It seemed like even here the weather changes after all, almost like it's matching my mood. It looks like just more proof that this place or its creators are sentient and are having great storytelling skills. Sometimes I really wanted to focus on a single theory of mine, concentrate on it, and forget about all the others. Just to decide for myself that it's done by aliens or I'm in a parallel universe. Or witchcraft or military experiments. Just to pick one and be done with it. To stop thinking about all the possible explanations to the situation, constantly jumping from one to the other. Just to focus on a single one. But it's impossible. I have almost no facts about anything. Nothing extraordinary has happened to me here yet. Yet some odd things took place, but they can and do happen in the real world too. After yet another cycle of similar thoughts, I found myself at the bus stop of Route 410 and the gates of the camp. I'm not going to bother to say it. No answers, no hints, no clues. I was walking wherever my legs were taking me. It was quiet in the residential area, not a single person there to be precise. My astonishment grew even more when Electronic appeared around the next turn. I wanted to call out to him but stopped because he was going a little too confidently in an unknown direction. It's strange, that usually goes against his nature. Anyway, what can I talk to Electronic about? And yeah, I'd have to start the conversation first. Seems like I was completely in despair. Moreover, it would be interesting to follow him to see where he was rushing to. Sorry, my voice gave out. As a child, I liked games of spies, and here's a chance to put myself into a real spy's shoes. I decided not to sneak and hide in a special way and just tailed him quietly at a distance. That's the best way to sneak, man. Soon we came to the library. Electronic knocked and went inside. I stood behind a big tree so nobody could see me and began to wait. He was absent for quite a long time. Perhaps this is a stupid idea, because in fact, what difference does it make if he went to the library? Maybe he just decided to get something to read? He was walking fast, so what? Perhaps he has some business afterwards. My thoughts were disturbed by a loud door slam. I looked towards the library and saw Electronic running away, and Xenia, who ran after him, shouting along the way. I don't want to hear it anymore, or to see you either. They ran past me, but naturally they were so involved in chasing that they didn't notice me. The whole situation seemed very funny, and I decided that I needed to find out what the matter was. I wonder, but could Electronic be running like that? Or where could Electronic be running to like that? Let's save it. It's funny, we didn't bother to save it during the lists, I don't think. Kitchen. Hiding in the canteen wouldn't be a bad decision. However, he wasn't here either. Alright, infirmary. Perhaps he ran to the infirmary. Nope, that's obviously a silly idea. Oh, duh. Yeah, it is quite obvious that he ran straight to his native cybernetics club. I entered without knocking, but didn't find anyone inside. Electronic, it's me. The sound of footsteps came from the next room, and soon Electronic himself appeared. Hi, Semyon. His eyes ran guiltily, and his shirt had visible traces of sweat. Going in for sports, I see. Sprinting. You saw that? He asked, doomed. Yes, purely by chance. So I decided to stop by. He's like, I totally wasn't tailing you. And to ask how you were doing and what happened. Nothing special, really. Indeed, fleeing from an angry librarian. It's nothing. You can tell me. I smiled disarmingly. Really? Really? And you won't tell? Of course. Silent as the dead. Cross my heart. It seemed like I exaggerated there a bit, but it looks like I had convinced him. Okay. He took a deep breath, gathering strength. You know, I've liked Xenia since the first day. At those words, I wanted to fall on the floor and start rolling around, shaken by violent attacks of laughter, but out of respect for him, I refrained. Still, his next words flew past my ears. So I just decided. Well, and you saw what happened next. A brave fellow indeed. Well, you try harder, I guess, and you will succeed. I patted him on the shoulder, trying really hard not to laugh. Thank you for the support. He smiled sadly. Okay, I have to go. I have some work to do. I shot out of the clubhouse like a bullet and finally laughed out loud. However, if you think about it, Electronic and Xenia would make a wonderful couple. They were actually a perfect match. It's strange that Xenia rejected him. I mean, it probably depends on how he said it. I was going towards the square, thinking further about this episode. At the end of the day, Electronic is not such a simpleton. No kidding. It's only you who thinks that. Just like that, he declared his love, even realizing that refusal will follow. Or on the contrary, it is because he's just as simple as an apple pie? Either way, you can feel the honesty and sincerity in his behavior. More complicated people would spend hours, days, months, years thinking about how to present this in a better way, what consequences it could have, and whether you should even bother. Yeah, like this guy, wasting I would do so myself. See? Literally what I just said. He would waste his whole life thinking about things, and then the whole life passed him by, and he's like 78, and he's like, wait a minute, I just thought about everything my whole life, I did nothing. No, rather, I have done so, but he just said it. Unsuccessfully, of course, but it could have also gone differently. Those thoughts made me completely melancholy, so much so that the lunch signal, usually so anticipated, didn't trigger any emotions at all. The canteen was chock full. Water break. Okay, the canteen was chock full. It seems that the camp was slowly emerging from the morning depression. Maybe the sun had come out from the clouds contributed to that, or maybe something else that I'd missed while running after electronic. Only the places next to Ilyana and Alyssa turned out to be free. I braced myself and started walking towards them. Eating was still a necessity. Can I sit with you? Oh, just sit down. Why are you so gloomy? It's just that you're too cheerful. I'm trying to maintain the energy balance on the universe. Ilyana giggled. Oddly enough, the girls didn't pay attention to me and talked about their own concerns. At first I thought it was good, but then I started to think that they were just taking no notice of me. By the way, where's Lenna? Because of all my thinking, I'd completely forgotten about her. I don't know. Alyssa answered absently. Has she still not appeared? As you can see, I took a look around the canteen but didn't see her anywhere. And no one's heard anything about her? No. Don't you find it strange? What's so strange? Maybe she's reading, maybe sleeping or something. Seems more like you're talking about yourself. It's none of your business, is it? Alyssa interjected angrily. Well, if a person is missing, you weren't so worried when Shirk disappeared. That's true, he didn't care. That's quite different. Yeah, and why, I wonder? I had no answer and just blankly looked at Alyssa before going back to my food. She did not insist on continuing the conversation. Lunch was over. All right, what is the next one? On day 6, we're supposed to, quote, help Alyssa, and that will be the last choice we have. Lunch was over. I silently stood up and went to the canteen without a goodbye. So, Lena disappeared. What should I do now? Ah, the creepy music is coming in. Here it comes. On the other hand, why should I do anything? Why me? Where am I and why am I here? Who are all these people? Oh, let's not go back to philosophical, please. One cannot be absolutely sure whether Lena is what she seems. Perhaps all this doesn't even exist, so why should I worry? Don't fall into this philosophical bullcrap, man. However, for me now, Lena is still the same Lena. The modest, quiet girl I met on the first day, and even her strange behavior couldn't affect my attitude towards her. In the end, it's not certain that I still exist. So, while the world is logical, at least to some extent, I have to play by its rules. I quickly went to the camp leader's cabin. Once inside, I saw Olga lying on the bed reading a book. Do you know where Lena is? No, why are you asking? She's nowhere to be found. She missed both breakfast and lunch. So what? She looked at me blankly. What do you mean, so what? When Shirk was gone, the whole camp was searching for him from the early morning. I don't understand you. There is something strange happening to the camp leader again. So she was behaving absolutely incomprehensibly, illogically. Do you think it's normal? So where is she now? I don't know. Olga replied calmly. This is too much. I started to lose my temper. Ask Miku. She's a roommate after all. That was a good idea, because obviously I would get no more answers here. Yeah, that is pretty weird. I went outside, slammed the door, and went to look for Miku in Lena's cabin. So obviously, here's the interesting thing here. I'm getting vibes like the way that Olga acted back there. It really reminded me of when Semyon asked like, so where are we exactly? And everyone dodges the question. It reminded me a lot of that. Like, I'm like, has Lena disappeared from existence? Is she not canon anymore? Has her source code been deleted? So, you know, who knows? But I was getting some serious, like, otherworldly Matrix vibes. Plus, this music always kicks in when something crazy's happening, so, you know. It was nice that the orchestra girl had told me before where she lives, which is why I was at the door of their cabin a minute later. I should have knocked, but for some reason I couldn't. After a few deep breaths, I knocked on the door several times. Pause. I don't know what's about to happen here, so we're just gonna give it a safety save. Come in. I heard a familiar voice. Hi. Do you know where Lena is? No, haven't seen her today. You're looking for her, right? Don't you think it's strange? By that time, I'd started suspecting everybody of hiding information about Lena's location, of conspiracy, of involvement in me being here, of Kennedy's assassination, and 100 other terrible things. Well, you know, maybe. I thought she went somewhere, and then I just got lost in doing things. Breakfast, music club, helping to clean, then lunch, and then... Okay, I see. But what about yesterday? Was everything normal? Well, she came in late and immediately went to bed. I didn't even notice anything wrong. No chance of finding out anything here either. Thanks. I said abruptly and left. At that moment, it seemed to me that missing Lena was the only living person in this pack of talking dummies, and I had to find her. However, it seemed almost impossible to do this alone, so I went for help. Who would be most willing to help me? Of course, Slavia. I decided that at this time she would be engaged in cleaning something, for example the square. So I went there. My sixth sense didn't let me down. Hi. Hey. Have you seen Lena? No. Why are you asking? No one's seen her since this morning. She was absent since breakfast as well as during lunch. Strange. I also think this is, to put it mildly, strange. Can you help me find her? Oh, sorry. Maybe later? I've got cleaning here to finish. It was like a lightning strike. I took a few awkward steps back and ran away from this place. No, this was not her. It was as if somebody had replaced her. Not only her, but also the other inhabitants of this camp. What is happening? The strangest thing is that it doesn't have anything to do with me, but with Lenna. Maybe she came here the same way I did? Oh, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. As if she was like another Semyon. That would be crazy. Exactly. That could be the reason why she behaves so quietly most of the time. No, wait. But what about her knowing Alyssa? No, something doesn't add up. I agree, something weird is happening now. My head was going to explode and I started to choke. After catching my breath, I looked around and found myself at the bus stop. I sat on the curb and covered my face with my hands. If anything, if before nothing had really been up to me, but was going relatively smoothly, then now I was, as always, helpless, but the situation was totally different. Watching the battle fought from the side was no threat to your life, and being on the hot spot without being able to help the ones you care about are two different things. That's true. That is true. I was just sitting. Time passed and the sun began to fall. Probably dinner had already started, although what's the difference? I still don't want to eat. I stood up and trudged back to the camp on rubber legs. As always, the only thing left is to wait. I decided to go to the beach. While everyone was at dinner, I could sit quietly and think there. Although, what could I think about? Enough, maybe? However, my expectations were ruined. On the beach, I met Xenia, which greatly surprised me. You also come here? She looked at me from behind her glasses. Do you think I'm not a human being? No, I don't mean that. Then what do you mean? Nothing. By the way, have you seen Lenna? No. I see. What do you want from her? Well, no one's seen her since yesterday evening. Do you think that someone could get lost in this camp? She laughed loudly. Sure, succeeded. That was a special case. Those guys are two peas in a pod and you never know what to expect from them. I immediately remembered the morning incident. Tell me, why were you chasing Electronic this morning? Xenia got uncomfortable. None of your business. Just asking. Because he's a fool. She turned away after these words. Maybe you shouldn't be so strict towards him. Even to me, it wasn't clear whether I'm defending Electronic or just keeping the conversation going. Then how else should I treat him? Well, give him a chance. You know, such an act requires a lot of courage. You say it as if it's something special, some kind of achievement. Would you be able to do that yourself? I thought and answered after a while. I don't know. Haven't had the right moment yet. I hope you'll have it soon. Xenia said rudely and walked towards the canteen. I sat down on the sand and thought. True that, Electronic was able to say it, but can I do the same thing? That is the question, a big question. If I got the right moment, but which and when? It's always easier to think about something, I don't even know what that word is, something, to get ready for dozens of possible situations to predict the following events for many steps ahead. But most of the time, it all goes differently. Even a small event is enough to ruin all your plans. And if you're not ready to do it at any time, whenever, under any circumstances, if you are ready only when everything is exactly as you had expected, it's unlikely that you'd ever get anything worthwhile. Good lord, I'm so sick of speaking. Therefore, the only correct answer to Xenia's question was no. Yeah, he would not do it. This dude was way too much of a coward. Not an ambiguous, uncertain, half-hearted, or forced answer. Just no. There is only a simple yes and a simple no. It's always been hard for me to understand that. Between those two extremes, I always worked in a great number of different answers like maybe, perhaps, probably if, and not sure, but I'll try. Yeah, he's scared to commit. He's scared of commitment and making decisions. I told you. He overthinks everything, and it's incredibly hard to be in his head. Really hard to be in his head. I was so absorbed with my thoughts that I didn't notice how the darkness stole across the camp. Under other circumstances, I would have gone to sleep now, but looking for Lenna at night was not a good idea. I got up and slowly wandered aimlessly. Soon the path led me to the sports ground. I stood there for a moment and was about to leave when I heard noises. Clap, another clap, something painfully familiar. Aha! Pause. Okay. I ran towards the volleyball court and saw Lenna, who was unsuccessfully trying to hit the shuttlecock with the racket. That is the worst name for anything. Shuttlecock, that's awful. I can't say it without internally dying a little bit every time. Which you could probably tell, you could probably hear it in my voice when I say it. I stood in shock for a long time. My head was completely empty. I just looked at her and I felt a sense of joy. Joy at finding her, joy at seeing her again. Finally, I came to my senses and decided to approach. But after a couple of steps, I stopped. And what do I say now? Glad I found you? Where have you been? I was worried. After yesterday's conversation, it's very unlikely she wants to see me. And what if Lenna asked me why I was looking for her? Why was I worried? I didn't know why myself. Probably it's because she was absent for too long. Because you care, you stupid retard! Sorry, maybe if it wasn't her and it's some other person who I know, I'd been worried the same way. No, you wouldn't. You didn't care about Shurik at all. Maybe if I'd behaved differently yesterday, she would not have disappeared today. Obviously. I'm not sure, but I'll try to come up with something adequate. I took another step and stopped again. Probably, maybe, perhaps, not sure. Again and again, these words appeared in my mind, in my life, unconsciously, without my will. But why? For what purpose? I have to make a decision, once and for all. Although, there are two simple words, yes and no. Finally, it's all clear. I went to the court, approached Lena, smiled, and said, "Hey." She turned and looked at me. "Hi. You were absent all day." "Yep, I was walking around." Everything she said was quiet and calm, with no trace of embarrassment or shyness. With no emotions at all, in fact. We worried about you, though the only one who was worried was me. You shouldn't have. But you can't just disappear like that. I tried to smile to make my words not sound like a reproach. I don't think that anyone cares about that. I care for one. Why? I read surprise in her eyes. Because it's not right. No matter how I tried to be perfectly honest, it came out wrong. Ah, I see. Okay, I won't do it again. It seemed like this conversation was not interesting to her. Yeah, because you can't speak. Silence followed. I just didn't know what else to say, and Lena seemed to be quite content with the silence. "You any good?" I finally said, pointing to the racket. "Not very. If you want, No, I don't." She walked to the bench and put down her racket and birdie. Okay. To tell the truth, I didn't expect that response. "You want to look at the stars together?" "Yeah, of course." I sat down beside her. Lena intently studied the sky. Lots of small lights shined above me. Some of them were brighter, some were barely visible. I never really understood what people see in just sitting back and looking at the stars. After all, here on Earth, they're just small dots of light, and it's unlikely how many people know what kind of celestial bodies they are, as well as their size and how far they are from us. That's not the point! You don't look at the stars to be like, I wonder how much that weighs. Like, no one does that. Like, when you're looking at the stars, you're appreciating the creation of the world. Like, you're just, you're like reminded how small you are in the universe. It's like it's a moment in your life, man. Like, you're doing it to appreciate life. You don't do it to study the weight of a star. He's so stupid. I can't take it. I'm so sick of listening to him speak. Sorry. Of course, it's so romantic to just enjoy the light of those distant stars, but for me, it was just like staring at a brick wall. No, that does not surprise me. It also has its potholes, unevenness in the brickwork, patterns on the stone, a stellar sky in miniature. "So, what do you see here? Stars?" she said mysteriously with her head up. "Yeah, I know, I see them too. But what's so special about them? I don't know. It seems that they talk to me. There are other people there. There are other people there. They have their own life, probably much better than ours, and they too look at the sky and see the earth, me and you. Voices of the distant stars. I had already heard that somewhere else. You can call it that. Interesting theory." No, the theory is quite common." Lena looked at me. In the dim moonlight, I noticed a small tear rolling down her cheek. Or at least I thought I did. I guess I'm just a more, let's say, practical person. She said nothing, just stared at the sky again. But if you think about it, of course, there's endless interstellar space, millions of planets, hundreds of galaxies. It's fascinating. My voice sounded unnaturally excited. "You don't need to talk about all these things." "About what? About this? About everything?" "No, the stars are really beautiful." "Why did you come?" Now she was crying for sure. I was looking for you." "Why?" "I don't know why, I just was. You found me. Happy now?" "Well," I mumbled. "Why didn't you go to Alyssa?" What does she have to do with it? Are you trying to say that it's not about her?" "Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. Why did you bring this topic up again? I thought we already cleared everything up." Pfft, of course we haven't cleared everything up. He literally said what I was thinking. To be precise, we didn't even start to. However, I didn't understand why all this is necessary. You think I really want to talk about it myself? If you don't, then why? Because it's because of you. Because of me what? You and Alyssa. Me and Alyssa what? We don't have a relationship. We don't have anything at all. Don't lie to me. Lena turned away, sobbing quietly. Why is this so important to her? Yeah, I can't fathom. What could it possibly be? What else could I say if you don't believe me? It's to tell me the truth. I've already told you. Then go to her. Why should I go to her? I don't want to go anywhere. Why are you sitting here and torturing me? Oh, Lord, how am I torturing you? Lena didn't answer. I've been looking for you for the entire day because I was worried. I came here because you're here. I came here because you're here. I'm sitting here because I want to be here. Why don't you understand? She stopped crying for a moment. Is that true? Of course. I mean something to you? Even taking into account all the things I just said, that question came at me unexpectedly. Well, yes. If only you could hear yourself now. She cried, got up, and walked briskly towards the exit of the sports ground. Wait! I caught up with her and grabbed her arm, but she pulled out of my grip. Don't touch me. Now Lena was a totally different person, and I couldn't say that she was aggressive, assertive, or super strong-willed. She just had no doubts about what she was doing. Wait! What did I say? That's all true! Save all this nonsense for her. I tried to stop Lena once again, but she glared at me so strongly that I didn't dare to argue. Just imagine how I feel. You wake up a bunch of stupid things, or you make up a bunch of stupid things, and now you think I'm guilty of all moral sins. Why should you care? I should. She stopped for a moment and looked at me. It's all lies. In my anger, I banged my forehead on an iron post. You could just beat yourself up here. I had seen Lena be many things, but not ruthless and indifferent. Wait, let's talk calmly. We have nothing to talk about. She crossed the football ground and I trailed behind, trying in vain to persuade her to listen to me. I don't know why I'm doing all this, to prove that I'm right, so I won't be misunderstood, so I'll look better in her eyes, or is there some other reason? In any case, at that moment, I just felt it was unnecessary. We came to the square. Lena was pretty fast, and I could barely keep up with her. I had to say something. My head was filled with different options, but nothing suitable. Wait. No answer. Listen. No answer. Will you stop it? No answer. We'll wake the whole camp. So what? What's the difference? Strange. At that moment, I was more worried about our behavior than Lena. She stopped. Thanks for accompanying me. I'll go alone now, Lena said bitterly. You haven't listened to me yet. To me, it seems like I've already listened, several times even. So what do you want from me? Me? From you? Nothing at all. She sounded much more confident than me, but there was no trace of doubt in her eyes. What can I say? What can I do? Damn it. I was ready to burst into tears. Don't get so emotional. Nothing happened. Nothing happened? Something definitely happened. You won't lose anything if you pay no attention to me. Let me decide that. No, seriously, why? Well, there are many pleasant activities you could choose to do. Well, to be honest, I don't need it anyway. If you don't need it, then why do you constantly mention Alyssa? Lena's face changed. This is none of your business. Got it? Get it? No, now, no, now it's my business. She looked at me as if she was ready to kill. Why are you bothering me? You have her, so go to her. You won't refuse, she won't refuse, I assure you. Lena started screaming. Her hair disheveled, her face flushed, and her eyes bloodshot. Calm down, I won't go to her. Why would you even think so? Just see, I'm here now and I'm not going anywhere. She seemed to calm down a bit. What's going on here? I turned around and saw Alyssa lazily chewing a bun. In the wrong place at the wrong time, this situation is a perfect example. I just froze in surprise, not knowing what to say. But Lena was smarter. Time to pass him on. Catch. Alyssa looked surprised. No wonder she hadn't heard the entire conversation. What? I said catch. Within a moment, Lena became like she was before, calm and unruffled. What should I catch? Him. She pointed her finger at me in disgust. He complains about how he loves you, how he cannot live without you, and stuff like that. What? Alyssa's eyes popped open wide. No, that is all wrong. Lena is joking. I giggled nervously. Why? That's exactly what's happening. Listen, everything has its limits, I said quietly to her. Do you want there to be victims? Why? I already suggested to you you should go to her. I don't know what you're talking about here, but don't involve me. You don't know? Lena said softly, but her voice had a trace of rage in it. The same thing again? Alyssa looked at her frightened. Listen, I understand that but I don't know really, not a single word and not even a single thought about him, I swear. You don't know. Oh my god! Whoa! Oh dear! Oh man, like what is happening? Man, like apparently Slavia is the only good story so far. Oh god, what is happening? Lena jumped at her and before I realized smashed Alyssa with a powerful right hook. Well, I'd understand a single slap, but such a blow could break someone's jaw. Alyssa collapsed and began to lose consciousness. What should I do? Help Alyssa is what I'm supposed to do. So, let's just give this a pause. What is the story right now? Help Alyssa. What are you doing? I ran over to the fallen girl and tried to figure out if she was alive at all. Are you completely out of your mind? If you want me to leave, to shut up, or to do something else, fine. But this is turning into a complete madhouse. Maybe you need a straitjacket so no one else will get injured. Lena stood clenching her fist. You could even break your hand with such a blow. You don't understand anything. The tears welled up, flowing down her face, and she fled from the square. It seemed to me that I could still hear Lena sobbing while I was bringing Alyssa around. I'm like, yo, are you alive? Finally, she came back to consciousness. You alive? You okay? See, that's what I would have asked. Alyssa moved her jaw from left to right. I'll live. I helped her up. What the freak was that? I told you about her. Well, that doesn't matter now. We have to get you to the infirmary. It's too late for the infirmary. I'll have a good night's rest in the morning. I'll go there. Okay, then I'll go with you. I can't refuse, Alyssa said, trying to give me a smile. What happened? All the way we kept silent. She was probably not really able to talk, and I couldn't find the words right away. All of this was a real shock to me. I found myself more of a spectator of a drama in which I just took the main part. After the doors closed behind Alyssa, I stood for a long time and looked at her cabin. What should I do after all this? Fatigue overcame me. I had to sleep. What the freak is this? I think Lena is now in a state in which she is unlikely to adequately assess reality. Completely broken, I fell down onto the bed and drifted to sleep. What is this, man? What is this? Like, I thought Lena's was gonna be the chill one, man. That's what I was hoping, expecting. I was like, all right, cool. You know, after Alyssa, we'll just play Lena's and it'll be super chill. I'm so excited to get a chill one for a change. Nope. Somehow, I woke up in my apartment. Whoa, after day 6? Whoa, like what happened? It didn't matter, it didn't trigger any emotion at all. Yet another day of my life, that's all. I got out of bed and woke up and I think he went to the computer, but my dyslexic brain like bleeped that word out for me and affected my mouth as usual. A message window flashed on the taskbar. I sat down and stared at the monitor. Somebody woke me, and that means that somebody still needs me. The message contained only 2 words: wake up. What do they want from me? An unknown ID, is this spam? And what does it mean, wake up? I'm not sleeping anymore. The window still kept flashing. I tried to close it but failed. Instead, yet another one popped out, and another one, and another one. All of them contained the same wake up. What the hell do you want from me? I screamed. Soon the whole screen was blazing with identical messages. I couldn't bear anymore, and I grabbed it and smashed it against the wall with all my strength. A phone rang. Strange, what could that be? I picked up the phone and just heard, wake up. On the other end, thousands of voices, men, women, children, were screaming, wake up. I smashed the phone on the floor, but it didn't break and kept ringing. Better hope that's a dream, or otherwise you just broke everything that's important to you. In a moment, the whole room was filled with strangers. Oh dear. They were grabbing my hands, peering into my eyes, and screaming, wake up. Ah, well, we are still at camp. That one was just a dream. I jumped off my bed in a cold sweat. Huh, what a dream. I came to my senses in a couple of minutes and took a look at the clock. It's 5 p.m. How long have I slept? All the events of yesterday flew through my head. Searching for Lena, the devastating conversation, Alyssa defeated. I really have to talk to her. Maybe she cooled down overnight. Yeah, I have no idea what happened, man. I dressed up, went out of the cabin, hesitated a little while gathering my thoughts, then headed to Lena's cabin. What shall I say? How do I begin this conversation? I can't just go in with, hi, how are you? Just passing by. There's no way I should lecture her straight off the bat. Not reaching a specific solution, I knocked. Nobody answered. I knocked again, then pulled on the doorknob. It's not locked. That's odd. However, there was no one inside. Well, that means Lena's not here. I'll grab some food. I might find her in the canteen. Getting along the rows of cabins, I didn't meet a single pioneer. That's odd, too. It's always crowded here at this time of day. Yes, because the bus left, probably, and you're here alone, probably. It's like what happened with Alyssa, but this time you're here alone. No one was at the square either. Coming up to the canteen, I started to get seriously concerned. It's time for dinner, but there's no sign of a hungry pioneer crowds. He's like, uh-oh. If only it was just that the canteen was closed. Looks like something had happened during the day. I sat down on the porch and started to consider the situation. All the pioneers were gone, without any warning. Well, of course, it's hard to say about this camp, or my way of arriving here is normal, but I hadn't encountered any completely inexplicable stuff during the week yet. There were lots of strange things, but maybe they were hiding in the bunker? I chuckled aloud. While all this is very, to put it mildly, mysterious, I was nowhere near experiencing a panic attack. No, it's just that they have left. Whoa, she stayed? I almost jumped out of my skin. Lena was standing next to me. You can't just sneak up on people like that. You need to give me a heart attack. Sorry, she said calmly. Now her words dawned on me. Left. Wait, hold on a second. What do you mean just left? The season's over. Or I almost think, aren't they saying session? Oh, they are saying session. Okay. Yeah, all right. I'm not mad. And the camp leader, she had some business to take care of in town, so she went with them. Okay, and what about you? I stayed. Lena was talking with complete calmness, as if everything that has happened is completely normal and routine. How? Why is that? What's the problem? Why? Now that when the session is over, the children depart for their homes, don't they? And when is it decided that today is the last day of the session? You won't believe this, but on the very first day. Moreover, Olga announced it at the lineup. Yeah, even at those lineups that I attended, the last thing that crossed my mind was listening to the camp leader's announcements. Then why didn't anyone tell me anything? If you paid attention, you idiot, you would have noticed. I waited for a chance to get out of this damn camp for so long, and when it finally appeared, I obviously slept through it. Well, that's exactly my style. I asked them not to. Even if you would ask not to, Olga... Hold on, what? I asked for it, said Lena with same confidence. And what, you asked them to leave me behind too? Yep. And don't you think that's all a little absolutely wrong? I started shouting. Nope, it's perfectly normal. I took a good look at Lena. Not a single emotion had crossed her face since the beginning of our talk. It looks like the girl was standing in front of me is not the kind of girl that's afraid of crickets, blushed at every occasion, and reads romance novels. Is she like bipolar? Or is she like multiple personality disorder? What is happening? Okay, I got it. It looks like this situation is directly connected to my mystical arrival at the camp. Just who are you? Me? This morning I was Lena, she replied patiently. Yeah, and I'm Optimus Prime, born 9 million years ago in the Highlands of Scotland. I wasn't afraid of her or anything around myself at that moment. Or I wasn't afraid of her or anything around myself at that moment. Or actually, maybe I wasn't afraid of her or anything around myself at that moment. There we go, that's better. I was just bursting with anger from within. Nice to meet you. I'm Lena. Okay, now let's get serious. I think that what you're saying is frankly impossible. Today, as it turns out, is the last day. Somehow, I don't know a thing about it, and the camp leader departs with everyone, leaving me behind just because you asked for it. Don't you find that all somewhat abnormal? Maybe I do. Are you hiding something? Maybe I am. Then spit out everything you've got. I told you already. I buried my face with my hands and took a deep breath. Okay. And what am I supposed to do in this situation? I don't know. And what are you going to do? I don't know. I'll go with the flow. Well, here's the flow. I hissed, abruptly spreading my hands. And why are you worrying so much? For the first time, a flicker of interest had appeared on her face. And how do you expect me to feel? Glad? Well, not really, but you yourself wanted it. Me? You're mad. And who said yesterday that he cares and that he wants to be with me? What's that got to do with this? I pretended not to understand, but it was finally starting to dawn on me what she was driving at. Your wish was granted. Yeah, sure, I mumbled under my breath. Well, here I am with you. That doesn't explain in any way what happened. There's always a couple of tricks that one could help succeed. And that is how, yes, a smile crossed her face. If I had known that you're cunning from the very beginning, to tell the truth, I kind of liked the whole situation. Well, not really liked, but I was curious. Of course, I'm very sorry that I couldn't have escaped with everyone else. However, it's having a what? I'm having something with Lena now. Whatever. That might mean that I'll get a chance to see the real her. And all the answers that I was longing for could be right here and not in some mysterious town which everyone else was headed for. Okay, so what are we gonna do now? We? She smiled. Yes, we. We're the only ones staying here. The canteen's closed, and I seriously doubt there's any food left here anyway. Of course, Olga should return to the fort in the foreseeable future, but, what does it matter? Okay, it doesn't matter. Any suggestions? What do you want? She asked with a sly smile. I would have grabbed something to eat, and then I don't know. Well, let's go and have something. Where to? There should be some food left in my cabin. Okay, deal. We went in, and Lena rummaged around in the desk drawer. Well, there are cookies. You want some? She handed me a half-pack open of biscuits. How cute, I sneered. Why? Biscuits, like in my childhood. I guess. She smiled and sat next to me. Well, I asked with my mouth full. About what? So, what are we gonna do? I don't know. She wistfully gazed out of the window. But what do you want? But really, what do I want? A mere half an hour ago, my only thought was to get away from the damn camp. And now, right here, next to her, something seemed to change. Well, I don't know either. Think harder. She drew herself closer and gazed into my eyes. Well, my face was blushing and my mind was racing. Not just because I was in such extreme proximity to a girl that quite clearly wants something from me, but mainly because that girl was Lena. Well, she studied me closely. Lena, what? To say that she didn't look like herself was nothing. I was not afraid of this metamorphosis at all. Rather, I was afraid of myself, what I could do in such a situation. Speaking of that, let's pause. I feel an edit coming on. Can you guys feel it? It's probably very close. Didn't you want to be with me? She whispered into my ear seductively. I did. I do. Then what's the problem? You know, it's all so... Besides, I have some other circumstances. What circumstances? She pulled away from me. Well, various circumstances. You don't prefer, do you? Lena laughed. Hell no. How could you think that? Oh, she was asking if I was gay. I got it. Looks like I blushed even harder. Then what's the problem? Are you sure that you want that? I tried hard to change the subject. After all, just a week ago, I had my own personal life. A life where everything was strictly tied up and well organized. Well organized, that's a joke. And where there was no place for girls. And now I'm in some kind of mysterious camp with Lena sitting next to me and hinting towards something. How should I behave in such a situation? What do you mean, how should I behave? There's only one real answer, isn't there? Yes, she frowned. Of course I do. What's the problem? Well, I was behaving like I wasn't even 17, which is how I looked now, as if I was much younger. Mine too, she smiled. I had to decide what to do next, now after the session was closed and all the pioneers were gone. I had to seek the answers. Above all, I just had to beware this girl that could change her behavior and even her character so easily at will. But at that exact moment, I was possessed by only one thought. Oh, what the hell? Well, if you don't mind. I closed my eyes and the edit is any second. I'm ready for it. She said nothing, just smiled and moved even closer. Is it this one? Our lips locked in a long kiss. Is it this one? Nope, I forgot everything at that moment. I forgot about the weird camp. I forgot about the local pioneers that were in fact gone. I forgot about our wacky camp leader. Is it this one? Nope, I forgot about my past life and about my future as if it would ever come. Is it this one? Nope, and right now the only one who mattered was Lenna. Her soft lips, her warmth that poured deep into my soul, burning me from the inside. This one. Nope, I gently moved her aside. Okay, is it this one? That's gotta be so annoying after so long. You're just like, it's not this one, shut up. Sorry, I gently moved her aside. Hold on, don't you think that this is way too fast? Why? She smiled and looked at me in such a way that I immediately felt ready to drown in her eyes. You're sure, aren't you? I am, I whispered quietly. Okay, so yeah, it was that one, as it turns out. And there we go. We made sweet, sweet love, and it's great. There might be another edit coming up, but we'll see. When I woke up, it was already dark outside. When I got out of bed, put on my trousers, and had a stroll around the room. What was that? What was that? Just an animal instinct, or maybe it was something more? No, it's all wrong. Completely wrong. I'm stuck in this camp. I've lost my chance to get out of here, and most of all, I'm with a girl who probably has a split personality and a manic depressive disorder. That was actually one of my guesses. I looked at the sleeping Lenna. Now I'm worried an edit might be coming. Anyhow, she's marvelous. Everything that happened between us literally only a couple of hours ago flashed before my eyes and I felt shivers up my spine. Nah, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I could have returned back in time. But if I could have returned back in time, I would have done exactly the same thing. I smiled widely and sat down next to her on the bed. I had absolutely no desire to wake Lena up. It was an unspeakable pleasure just watching how she sleeps. People say that sleep reveals the true face of a person. I heard a legend that some ancient civilization had a custom. Before getting married, a woman watches her fiancé sleep for 3 nights, hopefully not in a row, and then she decides whether to marry him or not. I don't know if that's true, but that sounds interesting. Bearing that in mind, I could confidently say that Lena's face showed nothing but goodness, kindness, and childlike naivete. Like, it's so hard of a stupid stutter. Could this really be the girl who knocked Alyssa out yesterday? Yeah, who cold clocked her? Like, I'm so confused. Well, maybe, whatever it may be, everything's already happened. And I've already seen Lena like that. The humility for the first 3 days, the hysterics back there on the island, the rage at the square yesterday, her passion today. How can one single person, a human, cope with so many opposite personality traits? Might be the case that she really has a double, a triple, even quadruple split personality. See, that's actually one of my guesses. I'm telling you, it's one of those things. Something spooky. I don't know how much time I spent watching Lena sleeping. It might have been a couple of minutes, or it might have been a couple of hours. Finally. Okay, so we're back. Yep, there was another edit coming. It's like I have a sixth sense. So basically what happened is she woke up, she's being super weird again. Like, she was super kind, and then she's like, haha, you know, lols, do you want to do it again? He's like, wait, whoa, wait. Like, I need answers. I'm so confused. And then like a moron, he said the word Alyssa. She came unglued, and he backtracked rapidly, and then she reverted back to nice, sweet Lena. And then he's like trying to get answers out of her, and he's trying to understand, and she is off and on being insane. So here we are. So they're having issues back and forth. I can't show that, obviously. And Lena said disappointedly and started to get dressed. So you can get the idea, and there might be another edit, but I'm wondering if that's probably it. Okay, we're good. I'm not asking for much, just a few answers to a few questions. Later, it's time to depart. She interrupted me impassively. What? Where are we going? What do you mean where? Back to town, of course. But you told me... Well, I might have withheld something. In fact, I persuaded Olga that we had some extremely urgent matters here and will come later. How would we get to town then? By bus, of course. There are no buses here. I grinned. What do you mean no buses? Of course there are. Route 410. I didn't know whether I should believe it or not. The situation seemed to be going out of control, but I wouldn't argue. Okay, I managed cautiously. Come on, get back to meet me at the square in 10 minutes. Okay? I gave up asking and left the cabin. Frankly speaking, I had almost nothing to pack. I just tossed my winter clothing into a bag and headed to the square. Lena was already waiting for me with her gym bag on her shoulder. You don't seem to carry a lot of baggage. It's just enough, she smiled. Let me carry it. Please do. Although her bag seemed almost weightless, a bit of chivalry never hurt anyone. We were walking and Lena was constantly telling jokes, anecdotes, funny stories, and never stopped laughing. Now I'd really lost touch with the person next to me. Is she the one I met a week ago or the one I met the first time this morning? When we reached the bus stop, I took out my mobile phone and checked the time. Surprisingly, there was still power left. What is his phone? To last a week? Is this like what kind of battery life is on his phone? It was almost 11 p.m. Isn't it a bit late for buses? Oh, what is that? Asked Lena cautiously. Just a toy. Take it, it's a gift. Thank you. She smiled and took the phone. What can you play on it? You'll work on it. You'll work it out yourself later. It's not that hard. Anyway, a mobile phone is probably totally useless here. We waited for about half an hour, and Lena just kept talking and talking. Well, I must admit that I found her stories amusing, and I felt comfortable with her. But what about the bus? So what about... I didn't finish the sentence, and I saw the glimmer of headlights in the distance. Ah, here it is. Lena exclaimed enthusiastically. The bus was slowly carrying us away from the camp. I'm not even going to try. From the pioneer camp, I just wanted to believe that we'd never go back. The darkness beyond the window prevented us from seeing the road, the woods, or the fields. Actually, it might be the case that they're all long gone, and we're flying through a void towards the unknown. Anyway, I couldn't care less for the surroundings. I just kept listening to Lena. Perhaps she had said more words today than she had throughout her past life. You know, I interrupted her at last. I still don't understand. What exactly? She smiled. How come you could be so hesitant, so humble at first, unable to string two words together, and then, like this? Is it that important? Yes, for me it is. Well, she took a deep breath before answering. You see, I've always been the way you saw me the first time we met. I was like that in public. I wasn't able to live as I wanted to since childhood, so I put on a mask. She went silent. Although, let's not go too deep into that. Lena laughed and cuddled my arm, pressing her body tightly against mine. Okay, I get it. It was probably very hard for her to discuss it indeed. Anyway, I got a lot even from such a short explanation. But still, can I be sure that you won't turn into that one again? You won't retreat into your shell? You won't surrender to your anger and rage? That depends on you, Lena smiled slyly. It was just now that I realized that I'm playing a high-stakes game. On one hand, I spent a week in this obscure world just trying to find some answers. I have nothing to my name and nowhere to return to, damn it. On the other hand, there's this girl who obviously matters so much to me. I obviously didn't think about whether I had any feelings for Lena. I just wanted to be by her side, look at her, listen to her voice. I liked her the way she was. I assured myself that this is it. The real Lena is in front of me. And now with these thoughts came back about my past life, my mysterious appearance in this 80s pioneer camp. It's not just the time for such thoughts. I feel good right now being close to her. I didn't want to return anywhere. I didn't want any answers. I don't want to think about what's going to happen tomorrow. If it's up to me, I'm assuming that's a typo. If it's up to me, then I just want to believe that you'll always be the way you are now, for this is the way I love you. Then I'll keep being this way as long as we're together. She hugged me even tighter. I don't know how long we had been on the road, but Lena's chatter gradually started to quiet down. She put her head on my shoulder, and she was telling me a story about her cat getting into the sleeping medicine and getting dizzy and wreaking havoc. I slowly started to doze off myself. But still, why did you hit Alyssa? She looked at me quietly with a serious expression on her face. I always hated that bitch. Lena laughed loudly and nuzzled into my shoulder. He's like, oh my god. He's like, I'm so scared and somehow attracted. I desperately tried not to fall asleep. It's unknown what's awaiting there after the bus's next turn. It might be a new life waiting for me, or it might be the one of this fairy tale, but I'll be buried in the coffin of the peeling walls and ceiling of my old apartment. But it was a losing battle. Morpheus had summoned legions of monsters under the command of fatigue, exhaustion, desolation, and uncertainty. I had no chance to win against the battle against these four horsemen of the apocalypse, and I drifted off to sleep. Wow! Lena is a handful! Man, Lena is a handful. Good God. Wow, this would actually almost might be a normal length side game video. I can't believe it. Wake up. Unconsciousness slowly returned to me, and it's like I'm falling off from a cliff so high that clouds are drifting nearby. The ground is coming closer, but I'm not afraid that I'll die. My fall slows down, and my body is smoothly immersed into the warm ether. Well, hello, Lena. I open my eyes. You'll sleep through your whole life like that. Lena looked at me seriously. What? We're there already? Where's there? I looked around. A bench, the square, Genda. But how? I was on the bus going to the district center. Why are you looking at me as if you've seen a ghost? Why am I still here? For a second, I felt terrible fear. Will I ever get out of this place? We were on the bus together. On the bus? Yesterday. Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Don't you remember? Lena stared, thinking. Yesterday. I don't remember anything like that. Maybe you just had a bad dream. Considering that all that had happened already seems like a hallucination, this must be a dream within a dream then. Well, let's take it slowly. I tried to think logically. The session ended yesterday, all the pioneers left, but we stayed, and then we took a bus and headed to the district center. Lena surely looked perplexed. Are you kidding me? I'm not kidding anyone. Today is the last day. Wait, so how much time have I spent here? Lena started to count off her fingers. Looks like 7 days. Not 8, it's 7, definitely 7. I gave an exhausted sigh, covered my face with my hands. Well, that's another riddle in the long list of this camp's mysteries. Well, okay, though I have a feeling that we won't manage to leave today either. Why? 6th sense. You're acting a bit strange today. I suppose I have my reasons. You want to tell me? I gaze at her attentively. I do. Sure, why not? When I had a real chance to break free from this camp, everything failed. So what do I have to lose now? Where do I start? Start from the beginning. Yeah, of course. Well, I was born, I studied, married, well, okay, I haven't gotten married yet. You still have time. Yeah, but, well, in a few words, like, I'm not from this world. From the look she gave me, it was clear she didn't understand me at all. I came here accidentally, even I don't know how. So, what does your world look like? Lena asked seriously. Well, it's virtually the same, but 20 years ahead of your world. So you already have spaceflight. Well, if it comes to that, you have it as well. However, you haven't made any great achievements in that field yet. Sounds interesting. I was unable to tell if Lena was taking me seriously or if she was just pretending to do so. I used to live in a completely different place as well, far away to the north, judging from the landscape in a big city. I've never been to the big cities. Well, maybe that's for the best. Will you show me your house? It seemed like she was taking this conversation as seriously as I was. Well, I'm not even sure it exists in this world. Oh, come on, Lena pouted. Well, sure I will. So, how'd you get here? One evening I took a bus, Route 410, and I woke up here. I don't know anything more than that. The 410, that's the one that stops outside the camp. Yeah, but my 410 travels at another time, or another place and time. Are you planning to return? Lena said, and I noticed a note of unhappiness in her voice. I have no idea how to, and if you knew, you're asking tough questions. What's wrong? Nothing, but you see, I only just recently started to adjust to being here. The first hours in this camp were such a shock to me that I don't know. It's okay, you still have time to think about it. Time to think. It seems that even if Lena believed me, she considers this whole situation just a typical inconvenience and nothing more. Anyway, it's not up to me. Possibly even if I do want to stay. You see, the one that brought me here can take me back as well. I believe that any event in a person's life has a reason. Therefore, you are here for some reason. Maybe. And if you haven't returned, you must be needed here. Well, I can't rule out that interpretation. Hey, time to pack your stuff. The camp leader's voice sounded from afar. Hear that? I don't have much to pack, but I do. So I'll meet you near the bus. Would you like me to help? Thanks, but there's no need. Lena smiled and ran off towards her cabin. I remained sitting on the bench trying to cope with the shock. My thoughts were still in chaos, one theory replacing another. On one hand, me being unable to get out of the camp isn't all that odd compared to me finding myself here in the first place, but what now? What am I supposed to do? Is there any chance that I can leave this camp if I try again? Anyway, what's the point of being nervous? By now, I know perfectly well that absolutely nothing's up to me. Maybe I just have to sit back and enjoy the ride. I couldn't help smiling, especially now when I have an additional reason not to be in any hurry to leave, and that reason is Lena. Maybe she's right and I am here for a reason. In the end, even if I can narrow down the possible explanations for my situation to a reasonable minimum, there would still be 1,001. And if I keep exhausting myself analyzing them, I'll just go mad. Kinda like me right now! Maybe it's time I make a choice. Maybe this world isn't so bad after all, especially since for the first time in a long time I have something to live for. It's still a vague something, but I have it, it exists, and now I have the power not to simply hold it, but to develop it into something bigger. With such thoughts, I stood up and started walking to Olga's cabin in order to pack my humble belongings and leave the camp forever. Oh, good lord. I'm so tired of reading. One may think it's strange, and that's exactly how it seemed to me, but eventually we reached the district center. I eventually got tired in the bus and I fell asleep. When I woke up, I ran up and down the aisle of the bus gasping for air, but soon I realized that this long week is over. At last, I managed to break free of the camp. All the time I spent there seemed like so much longer than 7 days, and now everything is over. Soon after that event, moved with frightening speed. No time left for self-analysis or seeking answers. Moreover, from time to time, I completely forgot about the camp. Like anyone who found themselves in a completely strange environment, I was completely lost. I had no papers, not even a single birth certificate, no skills to earn a living. Professions such as a computer specialist or call center operator was not in demand. Lena returned to her normal life. She had to graduate from school and got ready to enter university. The pioneer camp was in the south of the USSR, just as I'd assumed. Lena lived in a town with a population of about 100,000. It was easy to get there by bus from the district center. There was nothing special about the town. One big factory, rows of five-story houses. It's spelt weird. Five-story houses, wooden huts on the outskirts, a grocery store that closed at 7, a supermarket, a true Eden for a shopaholic, with choices including lots of other crap. You get it. Before I would already be trying to run away from a place like this, but now it was my home. Cases of starvation were rare in the 20th century Europe. I even managed to find a job. I was employed as a turner's assistant in a factory. It was also given a room in a hostel. Over time, this initially difficult and strange job started to bring a certain satisfaction. Partially, of course, that came from having the ability to buy food. Time passed and I climbed up the career ladder, becoming the head of a whole shift. My colleagues were amazed at my talent and persistence, and so was I. Lena graduated from school, and I spent several nights with a calculator, designing diagrams of expenses and income, and at last made up my mind to propose to Lena. I don't remember now if it took a lot of time for her to think, if she suggested we sign a marriage contract, or if she protested because of my lack of a dowry, but in a short time, both of us moved into a communal apartment room near the factory that cost 2/3 of my salary. Thanks to free Soviet education for everyone, or maybe thanks to my wife's persistence, eventually I became a part-time student at the local Polytechnic University. At first I protested, saying that a fair something had no need to act like the lousy intellectuals, but then I came to a conclusion that a diploma would make my life easier. It wasn't difficult to study thanks to my knowledge from my last attempt at receiving a higher education. Time passed and the country started to change. Of course I knew it would happen, but still the changes came out of the blue. You could compare to it being caught in an avalanche on the mountains. You can prepare all you like, but it will still bury you anyway. The factory was privatized and then closed down. Moonlighting as private driver in the something, which is a Russian car, very cheap and old. Rattletrap I inherited from my father-in-law was not really a profitable business. I was even ready to apply for a camp leader position in the camp when Lena's distant relative died and left us a one-room apartment somewhere in central Russia. After a family council, we decided to move. We greeted the early 90s in a cramped kitchen in something is a low-cost concrete panel 3 to 5 story building developed in the USSR during the reign of somebody. During Swan Lake. Thanks to random side jobs, I saved up enough money, we decided to move to a bigger city, and of course, I chose my birthplace. I decided to sell the flat and use the money to invest in business. For some time, we lived in luxury, buying milk fur coats and expensive foreign cars, dining in restaurants and taking trips to other countries. Like many others during that time, I had the luck to somehow make it big, starting from the bottom. My business was construction material retail. It was a profitable market at the time because people made excessive money that they wanted to invest in luxurious homes. Maybe such life could have gone on, but the 90s were called rakish for a reason. After encountering rackets and corruption, I was left with an empty refrigerator, an empty wallet, and a bitter taste of blood in my mouth. That was the time I tried to recall my man from the future status. Betting places that were impossible in the Soviet era popped up all over, and I rushed to gamble on everything I knew. However, I faced new disappointments, as matches were won by completely different teams. Even the 1994 World Cup champion wasn't Brazil. When I was just watching football on TV, everything went as it should, but everything I spent the last of my money to bet. Even underdogs began phenomenally beating favorites. As well as that, I tried to pursue the career of a political advisor. However, you don't get accepted into a high position like that without social connections or anything that would make people interested. I don't know how long I would have gone on this torment if not for an event that changed everything. Me and Lena had a child. In a hurry, I started to search for a possible way to earn enough to provide for my family. I like how we're reading his entire life story. It's great. I remembered some of my father's old friends, and through them, by pretending to be a distant relative of myself, I gained a place as a junior data analyst in a bank. At the same time, I made a new attempt to obtain my degree, or to be precise, to finish it. Time passed slowly. The money was just enough to fill our stomachs. I almost lived at work for days, trying to find some time for my exams. Lena stayed at home with the baby. That was when I started writing. I remember it as if it was yesterday. It was just after midnight. I was sitting in the kitchen in front of my old, worn-out i3-86, wildly killing monsters in Doom 2. I started to sleep badly. What? I started to sleep badly, but computer games at least slightly distracted me from the infinity of dull days. When I completed another level, I was suddenly immersed in thoughts about everything I'd gone through over the last few years. It was all too much for one person. That's when I decided to write down everything that had happened to me. I launched the word processor and wrote down about 200 words, with the clear intent of continuing it tomorrow. However, I didn't remember it tomorrow, or even a week later. About a month later, Lena, who was typing something on the computer, reminded me of my unfinished book. I reread it and deleted it, terrified. At that moment, I started to doubt if I could ever do it. After all, it was an entire top epic novel and I wasn't able to string 2 sentences together. In addition, it's not easy to write about yourself. Creative work put on the back burner for now. I celebrated the arrival of the year 2000 as a certified specialist with department head duties. While moving to another apartment, I found my old i386 among the trash that was to be thrown away, and I remembered my intention of writing a book about my life. I laughed. How stupid. However, after some time, I opened my laptop and made a sort of draft of a short story about a young man without a definite occupation or aspirations who finds himself on a different planet. The style, something, and punctuation as well as the idea itself were matched well to such a silly plot. I showed the story to my wife. She laughed but said that it was well written and advised me to continue. About a year later, the drawer designed for holding my literary works was full. I found that very odd because I was spending entire days at work, sometimes even during holidays, and I tried to spend all my available free time with my family. However, that's what happened. Around that time, I started to publish my short stories. As with any other beginner's work, some of mine were rejected, but a couple of them were accepted, including my first book. I was over the moon. Of course, I was paid nothing, but my works will be read, meaning that someone will find them interesting. Time passed. We had a second baby now. During my spare time now, I slowly wrote a novel. No, not about my life or about the pioneer camp. I decided not to touch upon those themes ever again. Everything that happened years ago seemed to be the will of God, whose charity should not be tempted. Who can tell what would happen if I hadn't woken up in that bus near the the pioneer camp gates? A year later, the novel was completed. After I'd annoyed almost all known publishers, I managed to reach an agreement with a small company. The editor, an elderly man wearing a ragged tweed jacket and thick spectacles which almost rub against my magnificent gray mustache, told me, "Your novel is average, young man. Average, yes, but the idea itself is interesting. Interesting, yes. Well, you need more practice and more reading. Yes." I remembered those words for the rest of my life. I dispensed the copies that were sent to me as a part of my royalty agreement among my friends and colleagues. Lena, who read my novel only after it was published, told me that she really liked it, mostly out of a desire to not upset me, I guess. Time passed. The calendar days were unstoppable approaching. I like how we're going to read literally his entire life story. Oh my god. And the thrown into my life, starting from the mysterious pioneer camp and now ending up there. Now I am a successful writer, at least according to the number of copies of books were sold. I have a wonderful wife, 2 children. My life has turned 180 degrees. Midnight tonight is the start of something new. Tomorrow is the last day that I was awaiting for so many years. Good God, there was so much text. I was so tired. Oh my God. What are you thinking about? Hey, look at us, we're middle-aged. I opened my eyes and saw Lena. She put a cup of tea on the table near an armchair. Firewood was gently crackling in the fireplace and a snowstorm was roaring outside. I wrapped myself up in a plaid blanket and looked at Lena. Do you know what day it is? No, what day? Do you remember what I told you back there in the camp? No. No wonder. During all those years, I had never brought up the topic of my mysterious arrival in this world. Do you remember how I told you I'm not from this world? Lena paused. Well, something like that, yeah. So today is the day when many years ago I got on the 410 and I woke up at that pioneer camp. So it's an anniversary? Lena smiled. Yeah, sorta. Is it a sad celebration for you? No, not at all. And I remember almost nothing about that time. Maybe that's for the best. I added some firewood to the fire and took the mug from the table. Maybe I'll write a novel. You can read it and remember. Do you think that's a good idea? Lena's expression became serious. Indeed, I once promised myself that I would never write about it. Maybe it's not. After all, everything that happened is just for us. That's exactly what I think. I sighed and looked at the fire. You know, life is like a candle. Someone's got a short one, someone's got a long one, and it can burn out at any moment. Then our life is like this fireplace. Yes, perhaps. I looked at her and smiled. I'll sleep for a while longer. Lena kissed me and fixed her gaze on the fire in a dreamy manner. My eyes closed and my whole reality compressed itself down to a crackling of the firewood. I started falling slowly somewhere far away. No, it was not a dream. More like warm ether gently enveloping my entire existence. Please don't ruin it by waking up young and having to start again or something. I don't assume so. I'm assuming they'll give us our credits. Hey, we did it. Oh my god, what a wall of text. Every story has its beginning and its end. Lena Good End. Every story, synopsis and epilogue. There's no book which, if you read it again, will not reveal something new. Every story has a beginning and its end. Almost every. Oh my god. We did it. I'm so tired of reading. I literally can't tell you. Like, it was such a wall of text. We literally read that guy's life story. Oh my god. But we did it. Yeah, Lena's, gonna be honest, maybe my least favorite so far. You know, I don't know. I liked the quiet, cute Lena. You know what I mean? I kind of thought that's who she was. But then, you know, and I can get making a mask to, you know, because people didn't like that part of you or whatever. I can get that. I liked her as the quieter kind of shy girl. I almost think I liked Alyssa's, cause I don't know. Lena was so crazy. It was so much yelling and violence, and then suddenly it would flip and she was one way, it would flip, she was another way, and it was such an onslaught that it was kind of a journey that almost wasn't worth it. We got our happily ever after. That's great. I'm tired, and you know, it is what it is. I'm tired. But the point is we got through it, so that's great. And I am happy to say we can leave the Alyssa Lena part behind us forever. Because Alyssa and Lena had that thing where they were always butting heads and it was always something crazy. So we finally got that part behind us and it's over. And this one was shorter than the other ones were, which is good because now this can be our side game for the day and we can record a full part of Saints Row. So today, which is awesome. Anyway, man, I'm tired, dude. I'm so tired of reading. Oh, man. Everything hurts. Okay, so our next one for tomorrow will be Attack on Pedo Bear. Don't ask questions I don't know. This will be Ulyana's Good Ending. Good heaven. And that will be next. So yeah, there's our next one. That was Living the Dream. So yeah, our next one will be going for Ulyana. After that is Miku, and after that is this new character who we don't know, and then it'll be the harem ending, and then maybe Xenia, but we'll see. And yeah, that's it, man. There's another one. Oh, good heaven, dude. I'm so tired of reading. My throat is killing me. Anyway, but yeah, happy we got through another one, and I'm honestly looking forward to Ulyana's, mostly because we can put the whole Lena and Alyssa thing behind us, and I'm happy to have it behind us because they were confusing. So far, Slavia has been the best one, and by far, Slavia's was the best by far. So I'm most excited for the cat girl ending for that character who we don't know. She is probably my second most excited, with my top one being of course the harem ending. I'm most excited for those ones. So we'll get through it. We're making progress. Like I said, the farther we get, the shorter these are kind of more or less becoming. So, and I think that's helpful for us. And I think that's pretty much everything. So that is going to call for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later.